Warning. Warning. This is not a test. This is not a test.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Full Length Cup Challenge. Tonight, we're excited to bring you all the action from iRacing's virtual Dover Motor Speedway here for the Sports 400 as we count down to the start of a green flag and the start of the Final Four for the battle of the in-season tournament. Maconi Entertainment is here bringing action from all types of racing, in this series and many others. No matter what you are racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Joining me for tonight's broadcast is Dylan Connolly. Also with us tonight is our producer, DJ Line, who's using cameras provided by Whiplax and Cams. Tonight, Decon, we're at Dover Motor Speedway, the Concrete Monster Mile, ready to see who's able to chop down and survive here on Sports Team Night.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I'm taking a look at some of these paint schemes for Sports Team Night. I see Appalachian State, Illinois, Milwaukee Brewers. Going to be a fun night. Good-looking paint schemes here at a track that is, it's one of the more treacherous that NASCAR goes to and that you'll see on the service. It's a 1 mile, 24-degree banked in the corner concrete mile. I believe it's one of 3 concrete racetracks that NASCAR goes to on a regular basis. There's a lot of elevation changes. It's very strange. When you go down the front stretch, it seems just fine, and then you almost drop multiple stories when you go down into the corner, and it's very, thankfully this is a virtual race, but in real life, the drivers go through a lot of physical, almost torture in a way, all the G-forces, everything going down in the corner, and then you go back up multiple stories to go down the straightaways here at this 1 mile concrete racetrack.
And keep in mind, it is Favorite Sports Team Night, as mentioned. It's our second theme night of this tournament and the one of 4 this season that competitors will have. Soda Awards, of course, at Daytona, then at Bristol. It'll be Rainbow and Neon Night Race themed for September 13th. But many teams supporting their favorite organizations when it comes to sports for the Sports 400. And we'll have to see how these teams fare out. 11 drivers, remember, are still amongst those locked in after Sonoma. Andrew Dyson taking over the season lead and victories with his road course prowess. He looks to build up more points tonight as well as many of the others. It's a 100-point difference at the cut line with Hutchison up above. But as well, RH Motorsports has controlled the team standings for a long while. Fortis Motorsports has had winning speed, but RH Motorsports has had the consistency as a unit to be able to keep themselves ahead of the others. Dirty Self Racing has had great speed as of late, but they're still almost 500 points behind. entering tonight. And remember, these drivers have the in-season tournament to think about here this evening. That's going to be up for grabs, $250 to see who wins that at the Brickyard next week. It's Derek Heitman versus Andrew Dyson. Then it's Alex Murray versus Paul Hill. Those matchups will determine who goes to the Brickyard to battle for $250. But these competitors are already just about set to go. They qualified throughout last night and today. Adam Benefield will start on the pole tonight. Glenn Hoffman is next to him on row 1. Neil Pearson, another good qualifying run, this time at an oval for him. He'll start next to Robert Miller. Ryan S. Jones, a great qualifying run for the North Melbourne paint scheme. Alex Murray, one of the highest, in fact, the highest of the playoff berths. Then it's Dustin Hall in 7th with Paul Hill in 8th. Once that bracket battle, keep an eye on that for the in-season tournament. Ralph Hutchinson supporting the Packers tonight. Brandon Hastings supporting Brandon Hastings.
Back here, P11, we have Matthew Long and Nolan Hodgson supporting the Panthers. Can't tell who or what those Panthers are. Lucas Hoytsma and Dylan Kritz will take up the following row in 13th and 14th, supporting the Brew Crew. Back in 15th, INI, Matt DiCiani in 15th place. Derek Heitman in 16th this evening. Back at 17th place, Cameron Stone and Paul Galmore will be rounding up the top 18. Jacob Simpson and Chad Sanner are going to round out the top 20.
Thomas Kocheski will start 21st, and it's Carl Donson in a different look Forza's paint. And Mesnard will be next to Jeremy Miller, should say, in 24th. Corey Cook will start 25th. Then it is a New York Mets scheme. That's Sean O'Brien Jr., 26th. William Owens has an Americanized look to his scheme tonight in 27th. Tower Hunter has a paint scheme from last week's theme this week. Tanner Marty starts 29th, the Mariners throwback. And Larry McDonald's your top 30.
Back in 31st, Matthew Boston Wheeler. He'll be in 31st. 32nd tonight, Daniel Llewellyn. Back at 33rd, Stephen Williams alongside Patrick Gitter in that Appalachian State scheme. A lot of upsets with that school. Back in 35th position, Andrew Dyson and Devin Medeiros. And rounding out a shotgun on the field in a Yukon paint scheme, Bobby Anderson this evening.
That's a look to Bond with the Rhino. We're here tonight for the FLCC. 400 laps on the docket tonight. Your stages will be laps 120 and 250. Plenty of tire sets available, but here's the thing, Econ. Each of these stages, we should at least see one pit stop here with the distance. Some of them, we might be close to.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to be really close. They're going to use, I think, at least 8 sets of tires. But how you save that 9th set and how you manage these tires over, I'd say, the first 2 stages of the race are really going to make how easy or hard the last stage of the race is going to be for you. But this track eats up tires very quickly here, Justin.
Absolutely does. These drivers were running 23-24 second lap times earlier in final practice. These drivers just about getting prepared to go for tonight. We're happy with this. Sports 400 will have one more pace lap. The field did request it and made some puns about a professional series in regards to that, but in all seriousness here, who do you think is going to be the one who picks up the win tonight and why?
Well, I like Adam Benefield. I've just known him as a racer. He's just real solid everywhere that you go. He's always someone that's just always in the thick of it everywhere that I've seen him race. But I do have a sentimental favorite, Matt DiCiani, over here in 15th position. I apologize if I'm not saying his name correctly, but I got a lot of family that's gone to the University of Illinois, a lot of Illinois fans in and around my family. They've got big things coming up. I think they're preseason top 10 in the college football rankings, but if I had to pick, I'd probably pick one of those 2 drivers this evening. One for racing reasons, the other one just because I'm a big Illinois fan.
DiCiani's a good pick. He's been a top 10 driver this season in the series. We'll have to see how this works out for them. So, just about all set to go. Happy with us for the Sports 400. Ready to roll 400 miles at the newly looked Monster Mile on the iRacing service. The grandstands are different. The walls are different. The fans ready to show who can be different and celebrate conquer Miles the Monster. All set to go for the start zone. Green flag is out. We're underway from Dover. Great start from Adam Benefield as they make their way out of turn 4. The Team Conti machine who controls things. Pearson up to second to start. Dylan Kritz went up 3 spots for a split second in the heart of the field. Take a look right now, and the battle's going on already. Hall in the wall. He holds on to it with Alex Murray, trying to see where the long run stands.
Yeah, the way that these corners are, you really don't want to be side by side or exit for the corner, as I believe he got in the wall again just now. Because that wall, the track actually slims up a little bit when you get back onto the straightaway based on the racing surface, but that wall comes out at you really quickly when you exit the corners here.
And for a lot of people, a couple years ago when they updated Dover to have the safer barriers down the front straightaway, that took away some exit velocity and exit room that drivers were used to having to be able to exit here at the Monster Mile. It does change your line. Now keep in mind, the rear wheel drivers had plenty of time for the past few years to deal with that. And now, these competitors are handling the track well. Hall going backwards, and right now, your battle amongst your final 4 for the tournament still lined up in 5th and 6th up front.
I think it's kind of getting a little single file now. I imagine, since this is obviously a full-length series, 400 laps, I don't think they're going to try to get too racy here, at least in this first stage. They might pick it up a little bit in the second, but I think you're going to see a lot of tame racing here for this first 120 laps or so.
I agree. This is a track where if you let it tend to go green, well, it will stay green. Hall trying to find a way around Ryan Jones way up into the groove. DPR machine able to hold on. But already Derek Heitman is somebody to keep an eye on. He's another one in that battle we talked about. Trying to keep ahead of the 41 car tonight. He's amongst those in this choo-choo train that's already picked up 4 spots. Amongst those trying different lines. Jones is trying the outside because he's forced to here. But others are trying the double diamond. Most of the field is trying the flat corner entry in Apex.
The old saying, and it's a very odd saying, there's different ways you can skin a cat. There's different ways that you can drive this racetrack. You can diamond it, you can double diamond it, you can hug the bottom. There's a lot of good multiple grooves that you can use here at Dover that, just depending if you want to managing tires, if you actually want to pick up some spots, or just whatever you really want to feel, and you can mix it up over the course of the race. You'll notice that drivers might run a lane higher to start out the run, and then toward the end they might run the bottom, and it's just really all about driver preference.
And also, that driver preference and how you approach those corners, in theory, also impact how the tire wear impacts these drivers. And one of the major things talked about during the week, Decon, is limiting fall off. Some of the top teams over the course of 40 laps reportedly have fallen off maybe 0.8 to a second. How difficult is it to save the tires while also maximizing speed here?
You really almost, you got to be really good to be able to do both, but if you're a driver that's about mid-pack, you can really pick only one or the other, in my opinion. You could either be fast, but at the sake of losing a lot of tire, or you could save tire, but you might, fall further back in the field. But it's doable. It's very doable. You could get, I would say, a set of tires to last you about a fuel run. So I think every time that these guys will pit under green, you're going to see them take 4 fresh tires all night long, except, if we have a couple cautions in a row. But it's difficult at any track to save tires, outside of the super speedways. But especially here, since you have so much weight put onto the tires of these race cars as they go down the corner, a lot of G-forces, as we might have a battle for the lead up here. You're just asking a lot to try to be able to save tires here while getting the most out of the race car.
Benefield just said on the radio, go ahead. Robert Miller, who's had horrific luck all season, Decon, is looking to have a bit better luck tonight. He's had winning speed almost every single race. But almost every single race where he's been in the front, he's found a way to be involved in the crashes, had a few DQs via incident points as well. What do you think is going through Robert Miller's mind, knowing he's a strong driver? He's just had some of the worst luck in this entire series.
It sounds like just a mix of, and I'll throw some names out here that'll make people think, a little mix of early Casey Kane and early Kyle Busch. It's just, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck. And it can be at times, if he's getting disqualified for incident points, that he could get in his own way. So if he's able to channel all that and just drive a good solid race and just get to the end without any major issues, he'll be at a good spot, and even at a good spot to win.
We have a spin on the back straight away. No caution, though. It's Tower Hunter. The 48 went sliding the whole back straightaway. The reason being, 3 wide on the bottom doesn't work here, usually.
Yeah, you struggle with having 2 wide here, but you'll see they go down the corner here. They're 3 wide, but they're staggered 3 wide, so their spotters might not have called it until they were a little too late. But, yeah, he got down on the bottom there and realized he was 3 wide, but he did a good job not hitting anything. Well, he grazed the wall a little, but I don't believe he'll have a whole ton of damage. He'll be able to get that fixed, but that was a good job to keep that just being just one car sliding instead of a bigger accident.
Speaking of sliding, Owen Hodgson just about slid out of his shoes out of turn 2. Went up high, tried to arc at the car, didn't settle down, and now he is up for grabs for some passes. Brennan Hastings, Matthew Long bunching up behind him. So some of these drivers starting to get a little bit free now out of 2.
Yeah, the way that this car drives, you'll start to get a little bit looser as the run goes along. It's almost weird. You'll get looser and then you'll get tighter, depending on if you're leaning on that right rear or that right front. If you're leaning on the right front, the car's going to get a whole lot tighter because you're going to lose front grip. But if you're sliding the car off the corner, that right rear is going to burn off, and it's going to make you pretty loose coming off the exit of these corners here. And that's pretty big because you're in the gas a lot. You're using the gas. You're easy on the throttle. It is real easy. You know, speaking from experience, to self-spin here if you come off the corner here because you want to get back to full throttle or you're side-by-side with someone.
By the way, Larry McDonald just pit under green because he slammed the wall on his own, broke a tie rod, I believe. So he's now spending a lengthy amount of time down pit road. That's already now going to be 2 cars laps down because Mesnard had a technical issue and left the sim, lost 9 laps as a result of that leg out for the 73. Right now, Matthew Long is in center focus. He's been in the league scene for a while now with Dirty Self. He's been contending for championships and series across the platform, usually in the fixed variety before this, in Precision Racing League that comes to mind back around 2021-ish. This season, he's been decent. Right now, he's keeping in front of these 2 on screen, Stone and Hastings.
Yeah, he's got a real solid race going on right here. Things kind of starting to get spread out here, like we mentioned earlier, about cars getting loose, kind of getting out of shape, or kind of getting tight. It's almost going to be the accordion effect. You're going to see that, and then as cars start to lose grip or gain grip, depending on how they've been driving the car, you'll see them get closer, and those gaps get a little bit shorter. But right now, things going all smooth all throughout the field. And, you know, like I mentioned, it's going to be pretty tame, I would say, here in this first stage. We had that one little hiccup where those guys went 3 wide and slid down the backstretch. But other than that, it's been knock on wood tame so far.
Very tame. Here's the battle involving the in-season tournament. This is close between these 2. Hill trying to take the run to the inside. This is an important spot for that tournament. Keep in mind the other battle, Dyson nowhere close to it. He's right now running in the 30s compared to what we've been seeing from the 76 in the top 10. So Hill keeping lockstep with who he needs to compete with for $250.
You know, when you get that in-season tournament mentality, you know, you almost approach the race differently. You know, if you're a guy like these guys fighting up in the top 10 right now, you might think, okay, I still have a chance to win the race. So I think they're looking at the bigger picture there for, I'm going to try to win the race. But if you're Andrew Dyson, who is also in this, I believe I pronounced that correctly. Andrew Dyson, he is probably thinking right now, unless something changes with the racetrack or his car, he's like, I really just need to beat one car. Like, that's the big thing with this. If he finishes in 25th position and the person he's racing finishes 26th, that's a good, successful day at the racetrack because he's going to have a shot to race for $250 next week.
Mind you, he has had a dominant stretch with the road courses in the midst of this tournament. So this, obviously a big change. He's won on an oval before at Nashville. But Dyson not in the ballpark right now. Didn't qualify towards the front. In fact, was one of the last qualifiers, and he's paying the price for it right now.
I would say, you said he has a win. Sorry to interrupt, but he has that win at Nashville. I remember watching that race, and what do these two tracks have in common? It's two concrete racetracks. So he's able. Concrete racetracks drive a whole lot different than asphalt racetracks. They have a little bit lesser grip. They get hotter over time as they're out in the sun, but it could translate over because it's very difficult to drive. There's a difference. If you ever drive on racetracks that are concrete, like a Nashville or a Dover, versus tracks that are asphalt, you notice the difference.
Temperature buildup's different. The grip levels are different. It's a bit more slicker, in my opinion, but it depends really driver to driver. Now, haven't really seen some of the others play things out yet, like Patrick Gitter. He's kept very quiet here tonight so far. He's running with the Appalachian State paint scheme. Gitter, usually a top 5 race car. He's one of the top drivers in the officials in this car. But tonight, doesn't have the track position to start. He's up 15, though. He's your biggest mover.
Yeah, it's not how you start. It's how you finish. He had obviously started a little bit in qualifying, but it's a 400-lap race. He's going to make adjustments to this car. It's going to be a lot of difference between lap 30 and lap 330. So that's the other thing. As the sun starts to move in, we are under realistic weather right now. So it is going to change how this track drives all throughout the race. So an hour from now, the track might drive completely different than it does now. As obviously there's no lights here, so they'll have to deal with night racing and having a lot more grip. But all throughout the day, depending where the sun is or where everything else is on the racetrack, parts of the track could get hotter and it becomes slicker. Or we could get some clouds come through and make it look cooler, and then you have more grip and his car might just drive better. But long way to go on this one.
Already going the wrong way, by the way. No, they were working on long run speed this week in the PSI camp. Right now, trying to stop the bleeding as much as possible here. This car, since the new build, is so sensitive, you can argue, to changes. And that's the tough thing, is finding the speed that works. It's been about a month. It takes a lot of ability, but also it takes a village, you'd have to argue, to find what works and doesn't work with these cars.
Yeah, because they're trying to. iRacing always tries to make this the most realistic car as it could possibly be, but it's going to go through massive changes every build. They might have different grip levels. They might have a change to the damage model where, it used to be a light tap on the wall would get you about 5 minutes damage. Now it seems like they're a little bit more durable in my experience driving these lightly, but the car could be completely different from what comes out on build week, what comes out on Monday versus when the build updates later in the week. So compared to the last time that these guys might have driven this car at Dover, it could be just night and day difference.
And it makes things so intriguing overall when you talk about things. Want to give a shout out to one of the drivers that, as some of the battles go on here, are making some of the first starts. In fact, for the first time tonight, Beast Mode Performance is amongst those, bringing Paul Gallimore aboard. He usually runs in Moonshiners. That runs on Wednesday nights. That's a different league that runs on a different network, enters broadcast. First start this season, he is now amongst the about 80 starters who appeared in a race this season in FLCC.
FLCC is a very popular series. That speaks volumes that there's been a lot of drivers that have wanted to try this and have wanted to stick around. And I've seen Paul Gallimore race before. He's done a fine job anytime I've seen him race. I haven't seen anything just stick out in a bad way, but I've always seen him be very solid in a lot of series. But he's up to, I believe, 21st position right now. He's doing a great job right now.
Very quiet day, but quiet can be good. Right now a -3 on the interval, but still plenty of action to go. Robert Miller, by the way, is leading by almost 2.5 seconds at the moment and growing. Altus Esports machine still continuing to set the tone, running 24 5s. So we are at about that 9/10 of a second mark we're talking about at this point for the fastest drivers here. And we know Altus as a camp every week has had contention. Clayton Hoffman in the Altus camp still is in 4th, mind you. Miller is dialed in amongst this run.
Yeah, he is incredibly dialed in. He's got that thing on a rail right now. But you look at the first lap that he ran tonight on lap 1 of the race. It was a 23.2, and the next lap was about 5 or 6 hundredths longer, shorter. They have already had about a second and a half of runoff since the start of the race. That's just incredible.
Are you including where it was in restart zone in terms of the 23.2s?
No, my apology. Yeah, I had my numbers back. Yeah, 30.2, and then you go down to a 23.8, 23.7. But right now, there's almost a second of fall off right now. My apologies. I'm a little rusty at this, Justin. So it's that's one thing. That's such a steep amount of fall off just through 40 laps of the race that by the time these guys are wanting to pit, it's going to be probably close to 2 seconds of fall off.
We might have a lot of lap traffic here tonight here too, now come to think of it, because of how long these stages are. Usually the stages are pretty quick. Not tonight. Ralph Hutchinson trying to get closed on up to Hodgson and Hill right now. Looking around to the inside, those are two campmates in terms of CFM speed. Nolan Hodgson just took the spot away from Paul Hill. That will move Hodgson up to the 6th position. And it looks like Mesnard's had another issue. He just pit. 73 was already 9 laps down. It's just pulled into their pit stall here to be able to take service. So drivers already pitting, but he was only 25 laps in the run. How long would you go over the course of these runs here before you peel down?
Well, if you try to break it up into sections, stage 1 is going to be 120 laps. So I would try to see if I could at least make it to lap 60 before I pit. But also, I'd probably want to kind of take notes, see how long and go. Like if you could stretch it to 70 laps, then that second portion of stage 1, you only have to run 50. So if your car's driving fine at lap 50 or 55, and then it just starts to suck, for lack of a better term, till like lap 70, then you just pit and you've got a manageable race car for the remainder of stage 1, and then you just pit and you get new tires. I think you'll see drivers try to split it down the middle, just make it easier to pit on lap 60, so it's 2 60-lap runs. But you'll see some guys try some strategy probably and see just how long they could go on fuel, because that number could be important as we go out later into the race. If you can go, just throwing a number out there, if you go 75 laps on a fuel run and you see there's a caution, you have to pit on lap 80, that's going to be a big decision there. See if guys can try to save that over the course of the race. But that's just an important number to remember.
We also just had somebody try something different as Hutchinson takes the pass outside. Makes it pretty easy. Carl Dodson just pit for scheduled service. And here's one thing to think about Carl Dodson, known for liking to try stuff differently. He's known for never saving the tires in the short run. He likes to lead, then usually drops back, then has the early pit call. He's really undercutting this original pit window estimate.
He kind of drives like me. It's really hard. You have to be able to save tires, you have to get that through your mind and click through your head like, man, I know I can go faster, but it almost hurts you. If you go just a little slower each and every lap, you end up going faster over the course of a run. So it's kind of, to compartmentalize it, to be able to save, you have to know, like, I might be a little slower now, but I'll be faster over the course of the run. And that's, trust me, there's guys that have ran in the Pro Series, there's guys anywhere, any and all skill level, that's just difficult to grasp, because you think, okay, I got to go as fast as possible for however long the race is. But a lot of times you kind of use the tortoise and the hare mentality. Slow and steady usually wins the race.
Well, you say that, but sometimes having the speed to be able to make it last is good to be able to have good long run pace also. Yes, slow is fast for the tires, But there is that certain point of expectation, it seems. Now with the top teams of where the car has to be, and if it's not there, get the hammers out. It's time to get back to work.
Oh, absolutely. I was just talking from a tire saving standpoint, but yes,
right.
If you have just good pace, I mean, you'll be fine no matter how you drive the car. I mean, again, it all depends on just how the driver drives, the driver style. I mean, there's 37 drivers in this field. There's 37 different driving styles all throughout this field, too.
What's your driving style?
Don't hit the wall. Don't hit the wall and just
that's
don't hit anything else.
That's a safety mentality, not a driving style.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a style. You know, we've had a bunch of road courses here on the official schedule lately. You know, if you keep it on the track, you don't hit anything or anyone, you'll usually finish okay. But I'm one that I'll kind of be conservative. You know, let's say I'm in a 50-lap race. You know, I'll be conservative for the first half of it because, you know, to finish first, you must finish. To finish first, you must first finish. And it's just kind of that mentality after that final pit stop or that little stretch at the end of the race. I try to get as much as I can over the course of a race. But it's just, like I said, you can have guys, there's different ways you can skid a cat, like I mentioned earlier. It's just, I try to just make it to the end and just hope for the best a lot of times. But yeah, that wall shaves off a lot of seconds.
Yeah, that wall can tend to be very unforgiving. Let's put it that way. Brandon Hastings on board with here. Has a chance to be able to move around the outside. They do have lap traffic trying to get out of the way. Tower Hunter just about drives himself to the wall to get out of the way there, but no issue. So the Tricon engineer just riding along and biding his time. It's not been the greatest long run for the 81, but he's still about dead center in the field. You see the expectation is there on how he knows how to set up the passes. He just hasn't had the long run compared to some of the others who are able to get that power off the corner like Jones here to defend.
One thing is you'll start to notice that as your tires start to wear, that top line becomes a very viable option. Not up against the wall, but that second line off the bottom, because you'll get a better run off the corner. You'll be able to carry more speed through the corner as well. But again, it all depends on how you've driven the first 55 laps of this race, whether or not you can run that top line.
Absolutely. And seen people be able to search around for clean air a little bit with it and be able to use that as a huge ramp. Hastings now quickly passed by Patrick Gitter, by the way. That'll drop him back a little bit more. Dyson, meanwhile, where's he gone to? A plus 13 now. Still 22nd. He's slowly marching his way through. The pace is 2/10 off the leader, though.
Yeah, Robert Miller's got, I've been watching him the last 10 laps. He's been slow. I don't want to say slow. He's been very consistently running the same line over and over. But like I said, Dyson, you mentioned a lot of these Final Four drivers, they might try some stuff. They might get to lap 120 at the end of this first stage and think, man, I'll struggle to get a top 10 or I'll struggle to get a top 5 or what have you. And they'll be like, well, now they might switch that mentality. Like, I got to beat one guy. If I can beat one guy, I'll have a good night. And, they might still think, okay, I want to win the race. Anytime you sign up for a race or anytime you join a race, your mentality is, I want to go win the race. I want to go be the best out there. But a lot of times you look big picture there. I mean, $250 gets you a lot. I mean, I believe that would equate to around 22 months here on this iRacing service if you just renewed it by the month. Of course, they have Black Friday deals, which come out around Thanksgiving, other deals throughout the year. But, I mean, you can do a lot with $250, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. See the difference between them, 10 seconds. Oh, we have trouble. Larry McDonald's lost it. Larry McDonald hit the wall about a lap or two ago, and he has finally spun that car. Caution is out.
Well, this will be big right here. This is now split this first stage into basically two stages. So we're done with the first half of stage one. And I mean, this will really just make it a lot easier strategy-wise. As you look at him, he's sliding through. I think he was just trying to come down and pit, and I think he just looked like he lost it. He didn't hit anything, but I don't know if he had a tire issue or a equipment issue or what have you. But Just real odd. He was really off the pace.
I think Jacob Simpson may have hit something. He had a flash up of a meatball flag. Not sure what he hit. We also had Carl Dodson slam the wall. Yeah, this 80 car had slammed the wall pretty good. Was about to come down pit road. Bye-bye, car.
I think he just hit the transition weird.
That was an early time to pit. So that's going to take away green flag pit stops for most of the field, except for a couple who lost 2 laps from pitting. Dodson, who got damaged from that caution, Devin Medeiros, and Matthew Boston Wheeler. All are pinned here.
Yeah, their bed's kind of made, but I think they'll be in good shape over the course of the race. If they could just manage this last half of stage number 1, they'll be able to try to stay at least just 1 lap down. But they come down pit road. I've taken 4 tires. I'm filling the car up and just go to the end of this stage 1 as Nolan Hodgson with a pretty good stop. He comes off pit road first.
2-tire call. He's the only one to do it.
Wow, that's a bold strategy, Justin. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I've heard of it working for him, though. That's when one of the talks that I've seen pop up is he's done left sides in officials where he has changed the lefts. So he's found something from the old build, potentially, here is what the talk of the town has been.
I mean, the other thing that makes this easy is you're going to have another yellow. So, I mean, if he does this and it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't really hurt you. You could suffer for the next 57, 56 laps, whatever we'll have left at stage 1 when we go back green. But I like this call. I like this. It gets you clean air out in front of the field. You know, you're on 2 tires compared to everyone else. But I mean, I like this call. It's a little gutsy, I would say. You know, he's been kind of hanging around. He's been in the top 10 the whole start of this race. But again, I can't say enough. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, if he's comfortable with his car and if you know that you have another yellow coming for sure, I mean, I'm a fan of this.
So, we'll see how this plays out now on the strategy. Hodgson up front, Robert Miller second, Heitman and Benefield row 2. Hoffman and Hutchinson row 3. Pearson and Lawn are in row number 4. Row 5, Hill and Hall, or rather Hill and Stone. So this, I can't tell if it's supposed to be the Dillon Panthers or another high school paint scheme. Ready to let the Panther pride shine. Slow run to the restart zone. Green, green, green. We're backing away. Good start and a good clean run to begin things here. So now we'll see how the 12 plays this out. Miller keeping it alongside for the race lead. Has the momentum. And the strategy not paying off right now yet for Nolan. Track position, yes, but Miller still leads it.
So there at his quarter, but I mean, if he can stay at that quarter, we have a trouble. We have a wreck.
Caution flag is out. And here it was front straightaway. And Jacob Simpson, who had a meatball flag at the last caution, just went around this time. Had some help off of Death Wiggle with Jeremy Miller. So apologies on the radio from the 86 this time.
Yeah, I just go back to Nolan Hodgson, the strategy, as you see that Red Bull machine spinning down the front stretch. He'll be able to get a lot of that damage fixed, I think, under this yellow. But, I mean, worst comes to worst, we're going to be restarting with 50 to go, and he's still going to be second. He's going to be, you know, on the front row, still going to have a decent amount of clean air on that car. But, you know, this might be someone that shows kind of a strategy later in the race. You know, you can take 2 tires, and if he's still 5th or 6th or in the top 10, people will be like, I might be able to try that and stack some more spots at pit road.
Absolutely wouldn't be surprised if a few people do that in the later stages. Jeremy Miller, that front nose is crushed in. So it will be Miller who will have to come down and get significant damage repair now under this yellow flag. He'll bring a couple people towards the back with him. Although we've had a contact on pit road. Carl Dodson and Jacob Simpson just made contact. Simpson hit the back end of the 9. No damage from it, I don't think, but it did cause a crumple up for a second for the two of them.
This is a very treacherous pit road to get on, even under yellow. It's very tight quarters. Cars are on top of each other. This is one of the thinner pit roads that these teams will go on, and thinner pit boxes that they'll have. But, it can get real physical on pit road here.
So many times I've seen people slam into those barriers too under green. But one thing I'm curious about is if we see tire wear become a huge factor here, like in any NASCAR race, where we've seen people pop tires here at Dover over the course of long runs, trying to push as long as possible. That might be a possibility here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big thing in that NASCAR race was, Vicente Salas, who won the race, he had a meatball flag the last 2 laps, but, the way that the rules are, as long as you finish the race before a certain amount of time, you don't get black flag for it, you don't lose positions. But, that's something that's going to come up at the end of this race, or at some point in this race, whether it's the end of the stage, whether it's the end of the race, but that's going to happen at some point.
So with the restart coming up here, Miller now gets the inside instead of the outside. First of those who pit will be 29th after this caution period. So, we'll see how things play out here. Bit of team pride in the channels tonight. The Panthers got the confirmation that is actually the University of Northern Iowa Panthers.
Oh.
Didn't recognize the P. I know you and I. I've never seen the P logo for it.
Yeah, I thought they were purple, unless I'm mistaken. But that's a good looking scheme anyway.
That is from the Hodgson family. So a different look to that team for tonight. With the restart zone. Early start. Derek Heitman able to fall for second already. That worked like a charm for the inside line. Heitman up to a race high second.
Tell you what, Robert Miller's going to be very hard to beat this evening. He's been very stout these first 70 laps.
Part of me is like, if we do interview him, it might be a race curse, because he's spoken with us a couple times, looking to stay uncursed here tonight. But on lap 70, his teammate Hoffman trying to find a way around the 12 machine. Hoffman backing up his corners while Hodgson trying to really sail up the track. It's not working for him right now.
I do like the matching paint schemes. It's not very hard to tell that these guys are teammates. They have identical paint schemes outside of the car numbers, but that's what I've always liked about the Altus cars. You can always tell who's an Altus driver, because it's very, very easy to tell with their paint schemes, but they're both looking very stout again early on.
Good setup underneath them, absolutely, for tonight. Oh, Benefield got the wiggles there in the background. Puts him up for grabs for the Dirty South car, Pearson. Great run for Pearson so far in the early going. In the top 10, he was a top 10 contender in both road course races in the past stretch, including a great run at Chicago. He's so far been keeping his West Coast Eagles car up front. He goes for the move on Benefield.
Robert Miller's enjoying this look at the back of his mirror right now, them going side by side up here. But I'm watching Nolan Hodgson. We've been talking about it, or I've been talking to him about it, how he's had 2 tires on that last stop. He's really treading water pretty well. It's not like he's just falling off, but of course we'll have to see, once we get past lap 100 or so, close to the end of the stage. But this is so far a W for the Nolan Hodgson machine right now, as he's currently ahead by about a nose in second position right now.
Try and make the send again for second. Ivan gets squeezed down and gets the run just like that. So Hodgson trying something different here compared to everybody else once he's single file here. You mentioned not really trying the wall. He's been trying the wall. Some of these corners. Others like Gitter, they're right about the top 10 now. Looking to make the move on Hill.
Justin, we didn't ask you this at the start of the race, but who's your sports allegiances to? You know, it's sports night here in the Sports 400.
Good question. Detroit Lions for football.
Okay.
I'd say
They're going to have a good year, I think.
yes, absolutely. They have a good chance this year for the title. You also had talk about Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
That's, of course, Detroit Red Wings for hockey. And funnily enough, it's more so Blue Jays because of the Canadian factor for the baseball side. What are your allegiances?
Oh, I'm a Chicago guy. I'm a Cubs guy. I think they were, last check, winning against the Red Sox right now. They're one of the best teams in baseball. The Bulls, it's been a struggle since that Michael Jordan guy retired. The Blackhawks, they're, seems like in a constant rebuild that's probably going to last the rest of my life. But yeah, pretty much everyone in Chicago, and of course the university I went to, University of Arkansas. So I don't know what football season is going to look like there, but yeah, it's got a Detroit guy and a Chicago guy in the booth tonight. So that's a good combo. You didn't mention any colleges, by the way.
Well, as you know, went to school on the Canadian side. So went to St. Clair College and University of Windsor. But in terms of the team alliance, I actually did some classes under the radar at the University of Toledo. That might fall into that repertoire.
I believe that's the Rockets, aren't they?
Yes, indeed.
I'm a big fan. They're always on, they play on Tuesday nights. They're always the random college football game you'll see on ESPN on Tuesday nights. So, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's not a bad combo. I can respect that. The people that, you know, they might be, you know, if they're a San Francisco Giants fan and then they're a Miami Heat fan, they're just kind of all over the place. Those are kind of oddballs to me. But people that just have an allegiance to one area, I can live with.
Producers' allegiances, I believe, are Penn State and Buffalo. The Bills, specifically.
Okay. Yeah, that's regional. Bills going to have a good year. Could be Lions and Bills in the Super Bowl this year. We don't know.
I believe our producer is based in Pittsburgh, interestingly enough. So that's a in terms of that. So not sure how I met a Bills fan from Pittsburgh.
It's first time for everything. I mean, I understand that. That's the same region, at least. You know, that's completely different than like in teams all over the country. But you know, football's a little bit more different because that's very polarizing. You know, you can run to a Cowboys fan anywhere in America. You can run to a Yankees fan anywhere in America. But you know, that's regional. That's no big deal.
Absolutely. And it's interesting where the friendships you can build come from in sports. Absolutely. Right now, Benefield, one of those not in a sports scheme tonight. Still maintaining top 10 speed here for Team Conti. Team Conti cars, so far, pretty decent runs for them. We've seen Cam Stone also have some good speed. Looking to get the attack back on the RHM car. If Hutchinson makes the move.
Yeah, Adam's slowly working his way back up the field here. He was really strong. You know, he was kind of playing it safe. He let Robert Miller go by early. He led the first portion of this race, but he's kind of working his way back, just tread water. He's not in any hurry right now. You know, still got over 3/4 of the race remaining, but right now he's doing a good job up there in the 6th position.
I believe it's a minor league scheme. Yes, indeed. The Danville Dairy. I believe it's the Dairy Daddies?
Yes, the Dairy Daddies, yes.
That is a real team name.
Yeah, I mean, you could really put any random words together and you can make a minor league baseball team. But yeah, the Danville Dairy Daddies, I believe they're in they're one of the independent leagues, but yeah, they're playing right now. They play, there's a Flying Pigs team in there. There's, I'm trying to remember, there's one team that's the Hush Puppies. So yeah, that's a good looking scheme. Their uniforms, I believe very cow-oriented. I think they're spotted on the top, and then the pants are pink or white. I can't remember, but I remember seeing them. So that's a real interesting team. Oh, he got a little loose off turn 4. Did you see that? He was wheeling that right now. He's going to lose 1 position, maybe even 2 to Patrick Gitter as well.
Yeah, they just had a game in the past day, actually. That was their final home game of the season, 16-14 in a baseball game.
Wow.
Against the Hush Puppies.
You're going to love this. You know where the Danville Dairy Daddies play? The Field of Creams, not the Field of Dreams. It could be a Field of Dreams for some people, but it's the Field of Creams. Yeah, it says it seats 2,500 people.
They really live up to the theme, don't they?
They're leaning into it. I like it. That's it's a standard looking park. It's 330 down the line, 400 to center. But yeah, the Field of Creams right now.
An interesting team, let's put it that way. In terms of their play, I believe just finishing out their campaign. But all this is wow. See some of the cars you were talking about earlier, DeCiani.
Oh, we got Illinois and Illinois Violence right now over here for 14th position. Holy cow.
Yes. Yeah, that's Lucas Hoitzma. Haven't mentioned him really all night. Has a U-Haul look to his paint scheme tonight, fitting with the color scheme.
Yeah, that's a good looking scheme. I didn't even recognize that he was in an Illinois scheme. Okay, he's one of my favorites for this race too. I don't care. I'll be biased slightly, but I just hope they race nice. I don't think the University of Illinois, like 2 Illinois cars, wrecking each other. But you know, there was another Illinois school that was represented in the Real Life Cup Series. DePaul University made its way onto one of the Michael McDowell's car. It's the Spire car, but it's always cool to see schools like that represented in real life and not only in the sim.
And of course, they are known for having their basketball program in Chicago. Great school. Met before with one of the people from their department once. Very friendly people over at DePaul. So, right now, holding on to things in this pack is Murray, by the way, in 13th, DeCiani 14th, Dylan Kritz supporting the Brewers in the midst of being the sandwich, the internals of a sandwich right now. That's with the Illinois cars. And right now, Dylan Kritz doing a decent job tonight. Still running for Black Flag. Still doing decently here tonight on speed, right about where he started.
He's kind of driving like how the Milwaukee Brewers are in real life. You know, he's not anything flashy right now. He's just kind of under the radar, but you know, you look at the end of this race, he might end up close to the top 10, inside the top 5 even. He's been, I've happened to watch him for the last couple laps. He's been real consistent with his line. Like I said, nothing just real flashy right now, but I mean, that's the Milwaukee Brewer way at least.
It is. Browski, a decent season. Oh, a bit of a wiggle for Hastings in the background. You know who's now inside the top 20, getting better and better, is Dyson. He's now up 17. He's now trying to join these cars in their fight. That's the DPR car next in the line. You see his gap between him and Heitman. Still needs to gain 6 seconds to get to the 76.
Oh, he's got over 3/4 of the race. He can make that up. I mean, he's just, it's a lot of time. If you're kind of closer to the back of the field and longer stretch races, you know, whether you're in NIS or a special event or even in this league, if you're closer to the back or closer to the middle of the field, you might see guys try stuff. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does work, it could work out big for them. So you see a lot of things that'll be small gambles that could actually end up being very good for them.
See Kritz, meanwhile, making the pass to the outside. Murray getting passed to the outside by a couple cars. That will drop the 7 down to 16th this run. So, Coming up now to 21 laps to go in the stage here. How are things looking up front? Well, Neil Pearson trying to make some moves on Hoffman. This is for the top 5. Try different lines, trying to diamond, try and cut his way down. Seems to have the speed to at least spar with this 92 machine. That second line's really rolling apex, but not on exit.
No, they're having a good battle up here for 5th, but we'll take a call to this good-looking paint scheme on the Neil Pearson machine. That's a West Coast Eagles. For those of you who don't know, that is Australian rules football. I've actually seen one of their games on TV, but it's good-looking scheme. Always a fan of anything blue and gold like that, but it almost looked kind of similar to the VRS machines that are running up here, the Altus Esports cars. But it's, like I said, it is a good night. It's a good theme tonight. Just see all these different teams represented.
Yeah, some people really living up to the theme night once again. Had a chance on the move there the last lap with the wiggle in the 92, but not this time. Seems to be trying to make sure he doesn't cook the tires here while in the midst of this fight. The lead, by the way, is 2 seconds again. That's how quickly Miller's ran away. Here's a look at the 28. Lawn rolling the outside line. That's an Air Dirty Self car keeping up with their teammate here, Matthew Lawn, up 4 this run through the first stage.
Getting close to the end of this stage here. I wonder if you're going to see. You probably won't. You might see him just top off the fuel, but it's a very. You're not going to see any guys try to flip the stage that you might see at a bigger racetrack where they'll be able to pit, stay on the lead lap, but you wouldn't be able to see that here. But I mean, you might see someone try to take that gamble and then pit and then take a wave around, but I don't really think that you'll see that necessarily here. In this short of a racetrack, but you'll see guys try to gamble here. They'll try to push for extra spots. I mean, every spot is precious. So, I mean, if you're Clayton Hoffman right now, you know, he might try to see if he can get Adam Beneful here in the 4th position, or if they can snag 1 or 2 positions no matter where they're at, that's big.
Yeah. Right now, going to see how things play out for the end of this stage in less than about 7 minutes. Hodgson still trying as he might with the outside. It's only good enough to keep up with Heitman on average pace right now, if not a little bit quicker. Past 5 laps, interval within 5/1000ths of a second between the two of them. That's how close on pace these two are. And Hodgson, of course, one of the drivers who's already locked in via wins with a couple different times around. Just trying to see where the car lies for that even longer second stage.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that second stage is 10 laps longer than stage number 1. Of course, you're going to start the first few laps under caution. So it's really going to end up being about just 7 or 8 laps longer, but it will make a difference because you'll have, if you try to split it in 2, you'll go 5 laps longer than you did before. Now, the drivers kind of got lucky here. We were able to split the stage exactly in half with that caution on lap 60, but I don't know if you'll have that over here in this second stage.
I'm more so curious how people slice and dice strategy in the third stage, especially with how risky the tires can get.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun because that'll break it up into about a 150 lap stage. Of course, you'll have a few laps cut off with the stage caution. But that'll be interesting because that's about, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, the distance of the Coke race where you had a lot of drivers, like we said. I think they got the double digits on meatball flags for tires popping, getting down to 0% on those tires.
People made the puns about this being Coke Zero Series tonight in the race chat. I mean, you have several drivers that work with Coke competitors in this field. You have Coke represented teams in this series in terms of the technical side. So you can make that comparison. Hodgson finally getting alongside. Hodgson able to make the move to zip to the inside. Can he get the job done? Able to keep it even here. He's got a strong chance to take away second here.
You go back to the strategy of Nolan Hodgson to take 2 tires there. He went from running about 9th position to this is the lowest he's been on this run, and he's only in 3rd place. So you're going to see a lot of these teams take note of that. Like, okay, yeah, he's only taken 2 tires, so he's been in good shape. But we've gone 50 laps green since then. So the left sides probably aren't getting used as much as a lot of drivers thought they would be. But, if you go 2 tires, one of the 2 things is going to happen. Either it's going to really work or it's really not going to work. And so far right now, it's really worked. He's still kind of on the same pace that he was during that first stint in this stage number 1. He's about a 10th and a half off our leader, Robert Miller. But, if he's losing only that for every lap, now he was side by side that last lap. This will be a good tell right here. Yeah, he was running about the exact same lap times as our leader. He ran a 24.578, and our leader, Robert Miller, ran a 24.576. So there's been little to no difference between just running 2 right side tires or running 4 tires.
Still keeping an eye on some of these cars as they come around. Now 5 to go this upcoming time by. Right now, Long, seeming comfortable, gets around the traffic, no issue. No major troubles for him in that regard. That battle for second still is pretty hot and heavy. Hodgson sent it pretty deep last time through 1 and 2. He's trying to go deeper into these corners here. Might have to try and see if he can take away that outside from Heitman possibly with 5 laps to go.
Like I said, this is where you'll see it get a little hasty. Not quite as bad as it'll be toward the end of the race, but we'll see guys try to take some chances here. Try to get that extra position. Try to get every drop out of this orange that is the first stage right now.
He just waved the white flag on the strategy to try and battle here. He just said, well, it was a good battle. He just said, I'm not going to get there with 3 laps in the stage to go this time.
And sometimes that's the smart decision. Just wave the white flag right there. You don't want to push it too hard and have something bad and then you lose more positions, because 3 laps, you could gain a lot in 3 laps. You could also lose a lot in 3 laps.
All of this as well. Robert Miller has done a pretty dominant job up front so far in his driving. The purple, blue, and orange machine. Coming to 2 laps to go. Question will be, will he lap anybody else? There are some lap cars ahead, might not get there. At the moment, there are 31 cars on the lead lap. Miller has dominated them all so far. Coming up to 1 to go in the stage, Dylan.
Robert Miller's got this stage 1 in the bag right now, I would think. It's been, like I said, Nolan Hodgson's the big winner of this stage, though. He's not going to win the stage, but he's going to finish 3rd, and he gained a ton of positions with that strategy call early in the race, and it seems like that's not a bad idea the whole rest of this race.
10 car lines up in front between Miller and the rest of the lappers. Green white checker flag. Robert Miller dominates stage 1. He gets it over Derek Heitman and Nolan Hodgson. Adam Benefield in 4th, Matthew Long in 5th, Hoffman, Gitter, Pearson crashing at the line. Oh, Neil Pearson just crashed at the start and finish line. Hit the inside safer barrier, trying to get the edge over Cam Stone and Paul Hill.
What I talked about, you get a little aggressive over toward the end of this stage, and look what's happened.
I believe Cam Stone might have hit him from the inside here. Watch this.
Side by side right here. Again, the track kind of shortens up right there. Just running out of room there. Looks like he's just going to scrape the wall right there, that 62 machine. But doesn't look like there's much damage on that car. He'll be able to get a set of new Goodyear tires here on this pit stop. But like I said, it gets real hasty here at the end of the stage.
Take a break. Stage 1's complete. You're watching the Sports 400 here at the Sports Coliseum. That is Dover.
Racing isn't easy. but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports 400, where so far we've seen Robert Miller show absolutely quick speed, short, mid, long run. Derek Heitman, Noah Hodgson, Adam Benefield, the top four, with Lawn, Hoffman, Gitter, Pearson, Stone, and Hill restarting in the top 10. Justin Prince alongside Decon as we get ready for the restart. We'll go to lap 250 this stage. Let's see how these drivers run this stage out. Green, green, green. We're back to racing. Clean start for Robert Miller yet again as the rest of the field rumbles through the corner. Adam Benefield quickly to fourth as Hoffman the first side-by-side with Long.
Didn't see anybody try to the extravagant on pit road over that stage break. Everyone took 4 tires and filled up their car, which I think that's the right decision. But you're Nolan Hodgson. He bought a lot of extra real estate with that 2-tire call halfway through stage 1. So I think you're going to see a lot of guys do that probably at the end of this race.
Benefield trying to make a move on that 12 car, just about lost it. Long. Alonso's riding the bottom, trying to battle with Gitter. Gitter clears on by from the outside. All of them trying to sort themselves out as Hodgson gets the clear. New fastest lap. Take a guess. Robert Miller.
Yeah, he's got this thing in cruise control. I mean, that's pretty big to set the fastest lap of the race, 126 laps into the event. But like I said, he's going to be very difficult to beat as long as this car is in clean air.
Trying to spar themselves together here. Move made by Gitter. No issue. Benefield goes back in the line. So, most of the field single filing out to start off the run for the most part, except for a couple battles here and there. Patrick Gitter, mind you, is your biggest mover, as we've touched upon. 29 spots gained for the 21 car tonight.
Yeah, he's done a good job. That's a big thing. If you start at the back, you have to go through a lot of cars to get where you think you should be. And Patrick's done a good job tonight just to weave through the field, not burn anything up, because that's the other thing that you can run into. You might be faster than a lot of guys ahead of you, but as you're weaving through lanes of traffic, weaving around cars that you might be faster, you might have to go outside of the preferred lane that you want to be in, and you end up you could burn your tires off really quickly, but it looks like Patrick hadn't done that.
Carl Dodson just broke something. Not sure what he broke, but it's a meatball flag. He didn't hit any walls.
Well, that right front's in bad shape right now. Yeah, right front on that Carl Dodson machines. I don't know what happened. He had to hit something. I didn't see anything on any of my scoring that showed what happened.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. He just came down for a 16-second pit stop, fix whatever the issue was.
He still got a lot of right front damage. We can see what happened here.
He did have a 63-lap run. Do you think he popped a tire?
Well, he just took tires. I mean, I don't know if he would have popped it by now, but again, I just see a lot of right front damage here, so I don't know if that's what happened or it's very, very curious. We got to find out, see if there's any way to find out what happened, but I have a feeling that this right front damage, at least I see, is a cause of some of this issue. That's just very strange. I didn't see anything.
Interesting, to say the least. As we've seen, Hansen did get the move for second a couple laps ago. So, he'll try and chug it along here. And right now, Heitman doing a great job once again here tonight. Of course, running for Fortis in the series, runs in the Ryko camp outside of the series, but he's got a caution. Ooh! Caution flag is out, we're back under yellow. Trying to sort out where the caution may have came from.
It was Evan Mesnard got loose on the front stretch and nosed it in the wall. Multiple laps down.
Running 36th.
Yeah, he just stood on the throttle off quarter exit, just nosed straight in the wall. I mean, that could happen really easily here. You just stand on the throttle and then the back end slides out from underneath you. But that's exactly why we're under the yellow flag now, JP.
It's been a horrific night for him.
That's the other thing, you get so far behind because of anytime you have issues with your computer that unless you're at a big racetrack, you won't lose much time. But here, even if it's just kicks you out of the race for a minute, I mean, you're going to go down multiple laps just try to get back in, and it's gone from bad to worse for that 73.
Pit stop. Robert Miller.
Really? Yeah, he's the only one it looks like.
Why?
Supposed to be the expert here. I really don't know why he pit. Because he is the only one that has come down pit road.
Well, Stephen Williams, Tyler Hunter, Tanner Marti, and Devin Medeiros, he just pit for 4 tires and fuel. 13 laps into the run.
I'll tell you what, he might be trying to stretch this toward the end of this stage, because if this goes green the rest of this stage, everyone's going to have to pit, and I think he'll be very close to making it on fuel. That's the only thing I could think of there, is that he's just trying to stretch this all the way to stage 2 and, in a way, flip the stage from kind of playing the long game. But
more than 100 laps?
That's the only thing I could think of here. I mean, he'd have to go 113 laps under green, but I really don't know here.
We do have Robert Miller standing by. Robert, we're going to ask point blank, why did you just pit from the lead with the most dominant car in the field?
I have a secret.
Okay.
Would you like to share it?
No.
Is it a fast secret?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see, won't we?
Okay. Is it a slow secret?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
I like it.
That provided no context.
I mean, maybe he was, I don't know, maybe he wanted to go back to the front challenge or something. He's got a secret, so we'll see what the secret is.
My question is, when you've had the luck he's had all season, why?
Sometimes you make your own luck, Justin.
Well, we're really going to see where Miller now stands in traffic, aren't we? It's going to be Nolan Hodgson and Derek Heitman up in the front row. So we'll see what happens here. Ring, 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 back it away. Hodgson shows the outside, and we have people on the wall. Hoffman spun the tires.
One's spun out, wow.
And here we go. Big one, 10 cars
And look
parking
who's
lot.
involved. Robert Miller, major, almost terminal damage to that car. Oh my goodness.
That secret did not work, did it?
Yeah, I don't believe that did. But you mentioned it. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck as the hood's flying around on that 15 machine. I mean, that's just, I would just be completely honest. I didn't think that's a really smart decision in hindsight now. Because you go from in the lead to now you have a wrecked race car that's got you out of this race.
Wow.
So Robert Miller's chance of winning has gone from very high to none. Just like that. Wow.
And he's got an EOL for entering close pit. Hoffman spun the tires. Hill spun the tires. Then pure chaos. Dyson around. Gallimore in it. Some people did not have brakes.
That's the big thing when you have a wreck here on either straightaway here at Dover. You're almost, it's like you're in a phone booth. I mean, you're just along for the ride. I mean, this is one of the tighter racetracks that NASCAR races on. It's very similar to the front stretch of Martinsville in a way where everything's just kind of boxed in, where a 2-car wreck can turn into 20 plus just like an instant.
Yeah, take a look at this from Robert Miller. He is getting repairs done, so I think he's going to try and stay in the race.
I mean, look, he's got a long gap to the next car. Just, oh my goodness. He's lucky that engine didn't pop from that damage right there in the front. That's still, I mean, that's going to be the big controversial $64,000 question there, Justin. Why would you pit from the lead when nobody else came down pit road and put yourself in that position where you had a chance to win the race? Now your night is pretty much over.
Absolutely stunning, and that takes half the field with them. Dyson picking up damage. Hastings, William Owens, significant damage. Darrell's still getting damage repair fixed. Tanner Marty amongst those down there. Lucas Hoytsma down there. Greg Cook also, I believe, was down there with
a lot of good race cars.
A lot of names were in it. So this is looking good for the 12, meanwhile. Going to have to contend with tire spin, which is a problem, as you now noticed here. It's going to be interesting if he avoids tire spin this time, or if everybody else avoids it.
Yeah, that's a big question with that tire spin. You know, these tires are still, for the most part, fresh. I'd say they're probably about 99% right now, if I had to guess. But, I mean, that's still a big thing. You know, there's a lot of power into these cars. And, you know, depending if you restart first or second gear, you know, you could still spin the tires pretty easily. I'm still in shock of that decision to come down pit road, and then that happens immediately.
That might be the worst secret to have. Whatever that secret was, well, he absolutely got the jinx of the season. Defines Robert Miller's campaign. Hodgson, Heitman on the front row. Patrick Gitter, by the way, is up to third. That's how wild this race has gotten now. Green flag is out. Back it away. Did anyone spin them? No. Much stable this time.
I think they learned their lesson from that last restart. Oh, 3 wide for the lead right now.
Oh, Gitter's going for it. Oh, a bit of a squeeze.
Wow.
Contact. Hodgson got bounced off of for a moment. And Derek Heitman takes the lead for the first time tonight.
That was a big, that could have been a big moment right there, just Prince. But yeah, That's the other thing with these restarts. You might have one guy, if he has an issue in 7th place, it's going to affect everyone all the way throughout the field, but it looked like we got through that one clean.
Hodgson tried an air peek to the inside. Heitman slams the door back to the bottom, in through 3. Robert Miller's back in the race. He just set the fastest lap of the race again. Somehow, if he gets enough cautions, he might still have a chance.
He's asking a lot.
Still, battle for second. It's Gitter now looking to giddy up to the inside. Now rolling for the lead. Gitter got at least to the fender of the 76. Now has to still contend for second. Looks like Gitter has a lot of giddy up in that Fortis machine. That's a Fortis Team 1-2, by the way, up front. Gitter, 32 spots moved up tonight.
Yeah, he's had a really stout machine right here, and it's just further proof. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's just, you could make up a lot of ground here, but I've just been impressed that there's not a scratch on that car. He has gone from 34th position up to 2nd place. And I'm not saying, you just be running through people, but you can have a lot of issues whether you're burning up tires, and then you might get up to about 15th or 20th and you're going good, but the tires that you worn cause you to lose more positions. But he's done a really good job to manage his equipment along with weaving through the traffic.
Absolutely. They're already starting to build a buffer over the rest of the field here with their short to mid-run pace. Only 0.3 of fall off so far. Also doing well in the moving up category, plus 12, Kim Stone. He's in starting position. Has gotten better and better as the night now has gone on, and with all the drivers having problems, he's been able to keep it clean and now drive himself to another top 5 potential race.
Side-by-side action here for 3rd position between Nolan Hodgson and Adam Beneful right here as they sort it out right now. But things are looking, he's going to get that left rear. See if Adam Beneful can pull him back. And I think they're just going to sit in line right now. But everything kind of getting calm right now. I think that big wreck that took out a good chunk of race cars right there, I think everyone's kind of learned their lesson right now and wait.
Yes, indeed. Mind you, the interesting thing is those who pit for repairs, for tires, for whatever, are 13th on back here. There's actually a 17-lap stint difference in this field, with Clayton Hoffman leading it right now after 34 seconds of damage repair and potentially tires. So there are some people here that are on offset strategies. Just in front of it is Dylan Kritz and Alex Murray fighting it out. This is for 10.
Like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be some strategery, as Darrell Waltrip used to say. As 17 laps makes a big difference here. I know we spent probably 8 or 9 of those laps under caution. That's still a big difference. So here, I'd probably say about lap 190 to 200, you're going to see that start to see how that affects everything.
I'm very curious, especially with where the tires stand for potential blowouts. We're seeing some blow them out around 63 on the runs at the back of the field, and with some of the damage build up. Hoffman now drives his way up into 11th, no issue. Mind you, Matt DiCiani, believe, had a 2-tire stop as well under that caution period in the 4 car. So he is essentially on the Nolan Hodgson strategy, albeit less laps on the left side tires compared to what Nolan did earlier in this race.
Like I said, that strategy call, you might just kind of sweep it under the rug, just taking 2 tires there, but I guarantee everyone that's been paying attention has seen that like, we have a caution 100 to go, or even in this last stage. I could take 2 tires and make up 7 or 8 spots and then just tread water, end up with a better finish than I thought I could get.
Yeah, right now, strategy is going to be interesting when it all stays around, especially with all the drivers that had to get the sledgehammers out to fix all their cars on the racetrack. Still a long way to go on the stage, less than 100 laps to work with here in this said stage at the moment. For those just tuning in, it's the FLCC, the Sports 400 Sports Night for your favorite sports team. Andrew Dyson, mentioned in terms of the paint scheme tonight, he is supporting Collingwood as his favorite team on the car. Right now, back on a recovery drive after the incident stack up. Has the Mets car in front of him to battle with.
It's had a big day today. They retired the jersey number of Mets legend David Wright today. That was big. That was a cool ceremony. I watched a little bit of that today. That's a good looking scheme, that Mets scheme. David Wright, one of the best Mets ever, I would say. He's probably not going to make the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he made the Mets Hall of Fame very clearly.
Going to be remembered as a team star, absolutely, with what he's been able to do over the years, or was able to do over the years. Ryan Jones talked about his team he's supporting here tonight. That is North Melbourne that he's supporting on the race car. Decent night for Ryan. He's had top 20 speed. And just pacing himself right now, just got checked up a little bit. Jacob Simpson able to dive to the inside.
I've kind of kept a little bit of an eye on Jacob Simpson right now, just kind of on and off after that wreck. You know, he spun, got the damage fixed, but he's done a good job to recover a little bit of this race, get back up and knock on the door of that top 15 right now. But I mean, that's big here. You know, if you have an early mistake like that, and, you know, I'll even put out on the table, you know, I kind of called it, but even a Robert Miller, you know, that mistake was kind of early in the race. He's still got a lot of time to make up those 2 laps and then probably be a factor in this race. But again, he'll need a little help, but there's still over half the race left.
Big wiggle there for Jeremy Miller, by the way. Got to save that car in a half to be able to make sure it didn't snap around in front of those competitors. Still all pacing themselves once again, now in 14th. So, this weekend going to be an interesting one in the Real Life Cup Series, by the way, here at Dover, especially with some of the recent dramas from the road course side of things. Your thoughts on the Real World Cup Series coming here tomorrow?
Well, if SVG wins tomorrow, I'll be impressed. I know that, but
I think everyone would be.
I mean, it's not out of the. I mean, I would not be shocked if he wins on an oval. I don't know if he'll be there yet, and you know, he's done a heck of a job. I mean, they've kind of, in a way, cheated the system. They got Trackhouse went and got a guy that's one of the best road course racers in the world to go win him 3-4 races a year and put him in a good spot where, you know, if he gets through that first round, you know, he can make it to that second round. Then what's in the second round? He's got the Roval in there. So he has as good a shot as anyone, I think, to compete for a championship right here. But, you know, it's going to be big. You know, the lineup was set due to whatever their math problem is that they have because there was rain today. Also shortened the Xfinity race today. But it's going to be an interesting race just to see. You know, that track's going to be very green because the rain that they're going to have overnight is going to wash it clean. But I'm excited for tomorrow. It's going to be a very good race. Going to be back on an oval.
I know that's been a talking point as of late, but about the evolution of the sport, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There's not as many new ovals these days. Where are you going to find new circuits? Well, go to new venues, and a lot of those are road courses, and same for street circuits. There's not a street oval really yet you could do.
Yet. That's the imperative word there. They're going to try it at some point. That's my big guess. They're going to go to a city block or what have you, and I think somewhere they're going to try it. But I love that they're very innovative in what they're trying to do. It's very adventurous to try to host a street race in the third biggest market in the United States in Chicago and do it so well. I hate to see it go off the schedule next year, but they keep having the rumblings about San Diego. That's going to be fun. Try to open up to all these new markets. The race in Iowa is going to be one of the newer races coming up this year. Coda's always fun. They're stretching their wings all throughout the country, kind of test the waters. I've heard a return to Canada is on the table over in Montreal, or running a race in Portland even up for the Cup Series. But it's just good to see, because we weren't too far removed from having only 2 road courses on the schedule. It's still been a 36 race schedule, but you'd had the trips to Watkins Glen and Sonoma in the summer, but now they've stretched out to 6 road courses. There's even talks of going to 8 road courses, which I'm good with that. That adds different skill levels and different ways to make all the drivers better overall. You got your short tracks, you got your intermediates, your super speedways. There's just an eclectic buffet of racing all across the NASCAR landscape.
Hey, why not add more dirt ovals here too, in terms of change things up, add some different skill levels that way.
And I thought they could do that, but I thought Bristol dirt was okay, but I guess they thought otherwise. It just wasn't very cost effective to cover one of the best short tracks in the country with dirt every year. So I think they could go somewhere like a Knoxville or an Eldora and host a very solid race.
Looking at some of the aeroplane schemes as we go towards the back of the field, give some love. Chad Sanner right now trying to battle for 26th. Had a decent run earlier in the year at Auto Club, one of the many that picked up damage from the big one earlier. Just trying to keep this car chugging along into an air caution. 24.7 is the pace right now. He's 3/4 off the leader. Right now would be in range to be lapped by the leaders at some point. Oh, wow. That Mets paint scheme is fighting. This is for about 19. O'Brien Jr. clears. And look at this. Robert Miller is still driving himself at a good pace here in the midst of this. Another night of what could it have been for car 15. He has not gotten the cautions he's needed to be able to even have a chance on trying to get a lead lap back here.
But the difficult thing is, back in the old days of NASCAR, it got tight right there. You used to be able to just start on the inside, race your way back onto the lead lap, but it's more difficult now that they have the lap down cars restart behind all the lead lap cars on double file restarts. So Robert Miller has the ability and the pace, I think, to, if a run goes long enough, to get 1 lap back, I think, under green, but I don't think he could get 2 laps back under green. Like I said, and you've said also, he'll need just a little bit of help to do that. But, the damage wasn't as severe as I thought. It was all front end damage. All the toe links were fine. And it looks like that car's as good as new. But, you go back, and I just think, I know he told us it was a secret, but I want to go in the thought process of why you would trade away prime track position for some strategy call like that. And it ended up, now, of course, if that wreck doesn't happen, who knows what goes on, but that's the ultimate question there of a driver and crew chief. Why would you do that? Because hindsight's 50-50. It did not put him in a favorable position.
Did not, and now he's only running 33rd. Up towards the front again. This is for 10th. Hoffman's kind of equalized out right now on his speed. Still trying to find a way around the 7 car. These drivers running on a 10th within the race leader's pace. Hoffman just trying to get some clean air on the nose behind those grandstands. Just trying to play things different. And we know Hoffman is now going to be flying the flag for Altus. Does that put some pressure on you now as a driver, knowing this is now your best shot as a team, or is this just about, I'm just going to drive my own race?
I think it could be both. It's kind of like, if you're I'll use the Xfinity Series as an example. You might be a guy that's in a car that runs, mid-pack every week, but you're driving that car, you're exceeding the expectations of that car and doing better than it probably should. You might get a call from a Junior Motorsports or a Joe Gibbs or whoever, another top team in the Xfinity Series. And it could create some pressure for you because it's like, okay, you showed you could drive this car that's of average pace. Well, now we're going to put you in one of the best cars in the field and see how you do. So it's kind of like you saw this trend from Colleague Racing for a while where they would take a guy that was in just average equipment, that he might not have had the backing. Now, of course, there's no backing here in this series, but they'll throw him into a top 10 car, said, hey, let's see what you could do with an actual car behind you. And I don't think it creates just extra pressure on you, but it depends on the person. It might. He might think, okay, this is my best chance to go make some noise and go win some races. I should go prove myself right or prove them right.
Taking a look at some of the others as we zip around here, by the way. Paul Hill. How have things gone now in the season tournament? We haven't touched upon that for a little while now with things going crazy. Well, right now, Hill is saving fuel. Big time clutch and coasting right now. And currently is positioned behind Alex Murray for the bracket. Hill is really concerned about this fuel mileage, it looks like.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that's going to be a big thing coming up here is this strategy. Like those guys that are 17 laps better than everyone else, they're really about 10 laps better with the cautions, but 10 laps makes a huge difference here. The strategy here on when to pit and what to do under that pit is going to be big here over the last 70 laps or so in this stage.
Andrew Dyson just came out of pit road, so the 41 taking service. Some of these drivers are 63 laps into the runs right now, including the pace laps. See it just how big the pace difference is on fresh tires compared to the old tires right now. The fall-off band has hit about 9/10 to 1 second again. We're about to have a land rush of drivers trying to sort out pit road here. This is going to be not so easy with all the marbles.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You'll start to see, you can even see on your screen right here, those marbles that are building up along the top. That's like driving on ice if you drive through those as well. It's not going to be awful right now, but you get to about lap 350 or so. That's a good view by our producer, DJ, right there, of all the marbles at the top of the racetrack. It's just kind of like in real life. You really want to stay out of those. It can knock your car out of shape. It can create a lot of issues. And it can, like I said, it makes you act like you're driving on ice, or with the new track damage model. If you go off track on a road course and you track dirt on the racetrack, it's going to drive similar to that, where you want to stay in the preferred groove. And in fact, you'll see over the course of this race, the last half of this race, that middle groove or that preferred line is starting to get a little darker, get a little rubber built up into the racetrack, and it's going to create a lot of issues. I think we have a lot of guys coming down pit road this lap. I've heard a bunch of guys key up the radio.
Yep, Patrick Gitter just hit the pit road. Pit window's open. And it looks like some drivers going on down. Very slow speed limit here. It is 35 miles an hour here tonight. And there's a whole wave of calls. DeCiani, Madero's in. Heitman's coming in this way. And already might be seeing some strategy there. That was a quick stop from Patrick Gitter, but it was still 4 tires. Black flag, Derek Heitman speeding. And that was your leader who just sped on entry.
This is one of the shorter pit roads that they'll race on in this series, but going 35 on this pit road after getting woe down, and one of the more treacherous pit roads to get down, it could feel like an eternity to go down this pit road, but it's very difficult to come down off of this banking onto a pit road that it really starts almost in turn 3 where you have to be. So it's a real treacherous pit road that's taken drivers way better than anyone in this field. Oh, he actually hit the end of pit road.
Jeremy Miller.
Jeremy Miller. Wow, that's a race killer right there. That looks like broken toe link. A lot of missing fenders on that car. That's big.
Couldn't get it to turn.
No, and that's the other thing. It's a very, very treacherous pit road to get onto. We've seen it take the likes of, I believe it was in 2003 or 04. Matt Kenseth didn't hit the edge of pit road, but he slid and went to a big stack of tires, but flipped the car while he was leading. So this is one of the more, and Justin, you've driven a lot of these tracks on iRacing. This is probably one of the harder pit roads to get onto, in my opinion.
So easy to speed, so easy to crash it. It's going to be a balance for a lot of these drivers to just make sure they enter cleanly. Adam Benefield right now is the leader, by the way. Or he just completed his pit stop service. Right now, 72 laps into the stint for the 83 machine. And the longer he goes on this run, the less tire wear concern for the end of the stint. But this is still going to be a massive time bleed here compared to those who pit. Patrick Gitter is running 23rd so far on his pit cycle. Remember, you would lose 2 pit laps or more here too when you pit. This is not a track you want to get pinned a lap down.
No, you really don't. And your hope is that you're going to lose time. You're going to lose about 2 to 3 laps while you make a green flag pit stop here compared to the leaders, but you hope that everything cycles out before there's any kind of issue. You want it to either be at the end of a pit cycle or the beginning, really, if you have any issues at all. But, I mean, you're in the middle of a pit cycle and you have one guy spin and it causes a caution, that can mess up a whole slew of drivers' races right now.
Air pit call over the radio. Brennan Hastings. Cam Stone's coming on down. Comes down, no issue on the lane this time through. And he'll take the slow trek on through. Should see another wave of heavy pit stops coming up here. Brandon Hastings just hit it. Will anybody else come on down this time? Not yet. As Stone takes the service. Benefield still stretching it. Mind you, some of those who already pit are already in the midst of trying to pass by some of the current leaders. So you have lap cars with themselves being passed here, while also having the different strategies. We're at halfway in about a lap's time. Halfway next time by.
Are we living on a prairie up? Get it? Oh, we're halfway there. It's been a fun race so far, Justin.
It's been an interesting one, and Benefield's coming down. Oh, look out!
A little loose. Oh, wow. Wow, that's going to cost him big.
Oh, he's still in the marbles.
Wow. Oh, he hit the wall, too. He's got left front damage now. Our
Benefield.
leader. Wow.
Wow, another leader. Second one.
That's the other thing, is you look at pit road entrance, we've done so much racing. We have not had a green flag pit stop. There's a ton of marbles that are accumulating on the apron. And like I mentioned earlier, you get up in the marbles, it works the other way. You get down on the flat on the racetrack here, you run over all these marbles, it's like driving on ice. And it creates a lot of issues we've seen so far. We've seen guys hit the edge of pit road. We've seen our leader have issues as well.
This incident going to cost Adam Benefield a ton of time here. Dustin Hall, another Conti car, stretching it. The Dodgers paint scheme. Right now, he is almost 80 laps into this stint on fuel right now. Paul Hill is also still extending it in second.
Yeah, it's looking like Dustin's going to pit here in a couple of laps or so. There's only 6 cars on the lead lap currently, so this pit cycle is close to cycling through. Well, a little bit more than that. It's hard to tell with all the scoring that we have right now as guys are coming on and off pit road. But I think we're getting close to the end of this cycle here, and it looks like Adam Benefield might not be in bad shape cycle-wise, but he's still got a lot of left front damage to deal with, as he's currently going to be in 15th position as he exits pit road, but Dustin Hall's still your leader.
Indeed. Still keeping it on the racetrack for as long as he can. There's Benefield. That lead would still go to Patrick Gitter. Noah Hodgson, though, is 5 seconds back on much pressure tires to that 21 for a long run of that strat. The Henderson Graphics paint scheme stays up on the top of the racetrack to let by some of the drivers on fresh rubber once again. Hearing an air driver, Tower Hunter, going to be coming in this time by. They're at the tail end of the lead lap. So our next wave of drivers is coming.
Now, you look at our leader, Dustin Hall. Well, I'm looking at him right now. He's running about 25 flats right now. Lucas Hoytsma, who just pitted on lap 199, he's about a full second faster than him. And Lucas has been hanging around the top 15 right now, but he hasn't just had just amazing pace, but I think his car's getting better over the course of the run. Of course, the front end damage that he has from that wreck didn't really help, but that's just the difference in tires right now between everybody. It's 80 lap tires and fresh tires, you're going to have probably a second and a half difference.
Now that is a big split differential. Paul Hill just passed him, and Dustin Hall saying he's pitting now. There goes the one. He made it about 86 laps. An awkward entry with all the marbles, but that will leave just those who had pit under the last caution flag from the big one. Hill, Tomacheski, Anderson, Gallimore, Williams, Sanner, Marty, and Cook. Everybody else has completed pit stops. And Hill is still clutching, coasting here. He is trying to stretch it.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least, just to watch him, because it'll sound like they basically shutting the engine off when he tries to coast here. But I kind of understand it. He's kind of banking and hoping that there's some kind of yellow or issue throughout the field where he's able to trap a decent amount of cars 2 laps down. But it's a viable strategy, and I've seen it work before. But I don't think this late in a pit cycle that's going to happen. But again, we've seen 3 cars wreck coming onto pit road so far.
Corey Cook popped a tire, it looks like. Locked it up for days and got a meatball flag from it. So Corey Cook had to come down regardless. Thomas Komacheski just came down also. And right now, the net advantage is still 27 seconds between Hill and Gitter. I'm very curious if he makes this work here. This is a lengthy stretch, though, to get to 250.
Yeah, it's a real interesting call. They're asking a lot out of this car to go 112 laps on one tank of fuel. But here's the other thing. He doesn't necessarily have to win the stage to be victorious here. If he's able to even just be still inside the top 5, he'll be in okay shape. Like right now, he's running about a 24.6. So I'll go pick somebody right here. Patrick Gitter right now. He's running only 0.3 of a second slower than him. So that's not like it's just an insurmountable amount of difference there. You know, the last lap, Patrick Gitter ran a 24.4. Paul Hill ran a 24. Hey, well, that was one of the slower laps that he's had, but he's been running this between the 7s and the 8s. So 0.4, it sounds like a lot, but from where he's at, it's not just a ton, and everyone else behind him, he's faster of the guys that have not pitted yet. So he's gaining ground on those guys, but he's still got a lot of difference between him and 6th place right now. So I like it. It's innovative. You know, you talk about he was someone that was kind of hovering in and around the edge of the top 10. But now, I mean, if this works out for him, at worst, I bet he'll be top 5 because I can't math right now. 34 laps will tick by pretty quickly.
That's a big gamble. High risk, high reward. Robert Miller, by the way, is down. As said, some of the others trying this is Bobby Anderson. League admins already with a heavy amount of damage. He is not clutch and coasting it, mind you. And we have a spin. Trouble front straightaway. Neil Pearson. No caution yet. We stay green. The 62 did get fired back up.
Big looked like Neil just lost it off of turn 4 and went across the track, got it out of harm's way, but no caution there. That was going to be pretty big. If you were Paul Hill, he was rooting for that caution.
That was very lucky not to be a caution with how much he was sideways there.
The other big thing with Paul Hill right now, not only is he banking on the fuel making it, but he's banking on the tires making it as well. I mean, this is a big ask for the tires and the fuel here.
Patrick Gitter did unlap himself, by the way. So that puts the 5th place car back on the lead lap. Owen Hodgson with the next one in line. Tanner Marti backed out of that strategy. These drivers now reaching 80 laps onto their stints here on this one. Still needing to somehow make it 30.
Just doing some quick math in my head. He's going to gain, if the pace maintains the same, if Patrick Gitter keeps running 24.4, running about 0.3 of a second faster than Paul Hill, he'll gain about 2 seconds every 5 laps. So, if you double that, it's going to be, it'll be really close if Paul Hill is able to stretch this out all the way to the end of the stage. I mean, the other thing is Patrick Gitter's still got to make up basically 1 full lap on Paul Hill. This is a big-time gamble. If they make it work, and all these other guys that are up here like Bobby Anderson and Chad Sanner, if they're able to make it work, more power to them because, all those guys, Bobby Anderson, who's running in 2nd place right now, he's up 35 spots from where he started the race tonight. Stephen Williams kind of the same, up 30 spots. Chad Sanner up 16 spots. So this is a big gamble right now. I wouldn't say it's putting all the chips in the middle of the table, but it's, you're re-raising, and it's a big pot right now. But I wouldn't say they've gone all in right now.
Yeah, this is big time gamble, this rate. Some of the drivers like Benefiel still going to have a chance at top 10 points if everybody pits. Is dealing with the damage the rest of the way here. That car going to be struggling for aero a little bit as a result of that left side damage here. It's right now trying to find a way to chip away an hour second or so to get back up to DeCiani, who's on the other side of lap cars. Still checking in on the leader. Bobby Anderson hasn't been able to make any inroads. Hill, clutch and coasting still all the way to the apex of the corner.
The other thing that's big with this, people will just, we noticed it about probably 20, 25 laps ago that he's been clutching and coasting, but if you're going to try to do this, you have to commit to it basically after the restart. So he's probably been clutching for pretty much a certain amount of time every lap since that restart. So this isn't just, it got to lap 190, he's like, I think I can start to save. No, this is very calculated on his part. He's been saving a lot over the course of this run. And, I think it could be done. And this is another thing, the last stage of this race is going to be 150 laps. And if you can go, in this sense, like Paul Hill is, if you could go 112 laps, which it seems like he's got an outside shot to do, that's going to help a lot because then you could suddenly pit with 100 to go and be comfortably in the fuel window. You look at his telemetry there. Back as went off the screen, we had very little throttle input through the corner. He didn't have input of anything other than the clutch pedal, and he's fine giving these guys their lap back. It's going to put them all way behind him. I mean, You look at Patrick Gitter now, he's only made up 3 seconds since he unlapped himself about 15 laps ago. So he's not going to have enough time to make up. I believe he's around 19 seconds away from the leader. I don't think he's going to have enough time to make that up or even get to the second place car of Bobby Anderson. He might be able to snag third place. He's only 5 seconds behind Stephen Williams there. But again, if Paul Hill's able to pull this off, more power to him, because then everyone's going to pit. I don't think anyone's going to stay out on the stage break unless, well, if there's a ton of cars a lap down, you might see that. But he's going to have 4 fresh tires, and he's going to be ahead of everybody and have clean air. So that's a big gamble.
Something just happened to Chad Center. I believe he may have popped a tire. Meatball flag for the 94. So Chad Center, his tires have reached the limit. He's on lap 89 of the stint. He has to pit.
He pitted on the same lap Paul Hill did. The other thing with the meatball flag, you have 4 laps to serve it. So it's not like it happens and you have to serve it that lap. If it happens, like, say, lap 248 and you're 2 laps from the end of the stage, I think you're going to see Paul Hill stay out and then pit, and he'll have plenty of time to do that. But if it's within 2, I think I'm correct, if it's within 2 laps of the end of the stage, you're going to see Paul Hill try to stretch it, even if he does have a meatball flag.
Stephen Williams also just had an issue with his tires. So 2 of the 4 trying to stretch the window are forced to come down. Tires couldn't last. Black flag, Stephen Williams on his entry. So now everybody waits to see, will Hill's tires survive? Bobby Anderson still has maintained the same pace as Paul Hill throughout this run. So it's extremely interesting from here. Some of the drivers that are in the top 10 right now with this, by the way, Ryan Jones has moved up to 8th for now. Alex Murray's in the top 10 at the moment. Others in range if they come down, Matt DiCiani and Benefiel. Gitter still 18 seconds back, 6/10 quicker last time by.
Now, the other thing with Paul Hill right now, you know, he's obviously seeing these guys that have popped tires or they're having to pit right now. He can back off a pretty decent amount. It's not like he still has to be setting qualifying laps here. He can still give up pretty close to a second a lap to Patrick Gitter and try to preserve what's left of these tires to the end of this stage. And that's the other thing I'm sure he's taken into account, because you've seen his lap times start to gradually slow a little bit more. Not fall off a cliff per se, but I mean he's not pushing by any means. He knows that he's still got a second in hand every lap to that 21 machine.
See Paul just tiptoeing.
That's the other thing. If you're not on the brakes or the gas, that's not adding any extra pressure to those front tires, which are usually the ones to go. So if he's clutching all the way through the corners, which it seems like he is, and not getting back in the gas to the exit, then he's not putting any extra wear on those tires. I mean, other than the general wear, but I mean, if you're using the brake, oh God, I'm trying to combine words there. If you're using the brake or the throttle, you're still adding extra pressure on those tires, whether it's the rear tires or the front tires.
Less than 14 to go in the stage. Bobby Anderson is slowly closing up to all this, by the way. Anderson slowly chipping away on the other side of the racetrack. Would be a great stage day for Anderson, at least, who is on the cut line. And that's the thing for the playoff. He is one of the drivers who needs to try something different right now. 100 points down to Ralph Hutchinson. He needs to score points wherever he can. He's being swarmed by lap traffic right now in the Yukon car. Gap is down under 15 seconds to the leader for Patrick Gitter.
Hey, look at Paul Hill right now. He ran a significantly slower lap, almost 0.8 of a second slower than the previous one. Him and Bobby Anderson, I think they're starting to realize that they can start to not push as much because they have a lot of time to Patrick Gitter, who's got fresher tires than they do.
Yes, indeed. It's worked out very well for the 21 on the strategy. 10 more times around this time for the stage for Hill. See some of the drivers now in the lead lap battling in front. The top 10 are now all on the lead lap in this one. It's just because he stopped clutching.
I think he has. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. I think he's trying to build up a little bit more. Like, he's trying to pick up the pace, but he's not trying to do anything crazy. But yeah, I think he's done clutching. I think he's pretty close to the fuel number right now, if I had to guess. The thing that would throw a wrench into this is if they had a caution right now. If there's a quick caution here, I'd consider staying out, trap all those people one lap down, and then you'd have the stage break. But I think we're going to be pretty well in the clear of that. That's the other thing I think he was playing for. He was begging for a caution, but not necessarily to pit, just to trap a bunch of these cars a lap down.
Big play, absolutely. He's back to clutch and coasting again. Something's happened to Bobby Anderson. He's pit. Bobby Anderson couldn't make it. And there goes the 5.
I believe he missed his pit box too. It's a little too far. Yeah, Paul's still got a good 11 seconds between him and Patrick Gitter. So I think he can not necessarily coast, but he can just piddle his way around the racetrack for the next 6 laps and I think be fine here. Now, the only thing that would hurt him is if he gets the beat ball flag in the next 4 laps or so, then he has to serve it under green. But if it happens with 2 or less to go, he could still have the beat ball flag for his tire and still come around and pit when he normally can.
Is that going to become the case here? He has looked to become a tire wizard here with this run. Absolute magic with what he's been able to do this stint on the fuel and on the Goodyear Eagles. Just 5 more laps to go in stage number 2. Gap is under 10 seconds now between him and the 21.
Yeah, last time by, Patrick Gitter ran about almost a second faster than Paul Hill, but right now, if he only gains a second a lap, he'll finish about 3 seconds behind him. Yeah, Paul Hill's in full save mode right now. He's done a good job to build up equity over this stage and save enough fuel and save enough tire to where he's afforded the ability to be able to do this.
He really wants track position, and better yet, he really wants that playoff point.
Oh, absolutely. Then the other thing is everyone's going to pit here on this stage. I don't think you'll see anyone stay out, and he's going to, provided nothing happens in this next lap and a half, he's going to restart presumably in the lead with fresh tires and clean air.
And with a decent chunk of drivers still pinned a lap down.
That's the other thing. A lot of those guys will have to take the waiver. They'll have to decide, do they want to take the waiver out or do they want fresh tires?
Honestly, most people might take the fresh tires based on the strategy window. There goes Dustin Hall. That puts 14th back on the lead lap. 2 to go, and now bed officially made. Pit road closed.
And I think he'll be good here. Even if he gets a beat ball flag now, he won't have to serve it under green. But this is big. If you're Neil Pearson or Brandon Hastings, you want to try to get past Paul Hill because now you don't have to rely on, I think Neil Pearson's going to be able to get by him. Or Pearson, I'm sorry. He's going to be able to get by him here, but I don't know if Brandon Hastings will have enough time, so he'll have to rely on the lucky dog here. But all those guys that unlap themselves, they're going to be okay because they'll just be able to pit on the lead lap. But what a call for Paul Hill here.
A call and a half. Hill, one of those around where the incident sparked up, stretching the gas more than 110 laps. Stage 2 winner, Paul Hill, green, white, checkered. He survives to get the stage. And
That's a heck of a call, man.
Wonder if this was what Robert Miller may have intended here. Remember, that was around the same lap. Patrick Gitter, Nolan Hodgson, Matthew Long, Cam Stone, Ralph Hutchinson, Clayton Hoffman, Alex Murray, Ryan Jones, Adam Benefiel, your top 10 in this stage.
So one underrated thing that just happened, they took the stage. Paul Hill was good, but they didn't throw the yellow until the top 10 all crossed. So in that time, Paul Hill actually let Brandon Hastings by. So now Lucas Hoytsma is going to get the lucky dog here. That's big.
Interesting flip of the switch there. The Sports 400 continues on from Dover right after this. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Lost in this world so wild, tried to find my footing, but I stumbled like a child, fell into some shadows, couldn't see the light ahead. I know you've been worried by the tears that you have shed, but I'm climbing back up, reaching for the sky, gonna make you proud, no more reasons to
Welcome back to Dover Motor Speedway for the Sports 400. Right now it's Paul Hill in the race lead, Patrick Gitter in second. Nolan Hodgson and Matthew Law in the top 4 with Hutchinson, Stone, Murray, Hoffman, Jones, DeCiani amongst the top 10. So, we had a couple people take the wave around. Thomas Komacheski, Paul Gallimore were those drivers. This brings us to 19 on the lead lap. Back and away, good start for the 26.
But it feels like a brand new race car with those fresh tires right now.
Especially with the Fuel Wizard putting up such mileage. But Patrick Gitter wants the lead immediately. Gitter to the inside. He makes it look extremely easy. And that's the speed we've seen from Fortis all night. Patrick Gitter now looking to set sail with the clean air.
Clean air is so important here. Once you get toward lap traffic, it starts to affect you as well. But right now, you're going to have clean air here, and that makes your car so much better. It doesn't matter who's driving it. It's going to drive just a ton better. It's going to have a lot more bike. It's going to get a lot down to the track better. As we have 3 wide, we have a car up in the wall close. Back there, I believe that's, couldn't tell who that was. That was, looked like Nolan Hodgson, who got way up in the marbles, but he was able to save it and keep it out of the wall.
Went the wrong way so far this stint. Contact with the wall. Matt Ticiani now trying to make the send on him. Another Fortis car. Hodgson so far, whatever he might have done during the pit stop window going the wrong way for him so far on speed.
Yeah, you'll start to see business start to pick up here in this last stage. You know, we're getting close to the end. Once you get past 300, you'll see things start to fire up even more. But, you know, guys are tired of waiting. They want to get track position because they know how hectic this end of the race could be.
A bit of Kowal contact that time for Dustin Hall. And Hall we haven't really seen towards the top 5 tonight. He's been sometimes in the top 10. Able to make some moves on the high side right there. Look who's also making some inroads now. Robert Miller. He is still 2 laps down though. He might be trying to lap himself here to get to 1 down.
I think that's exactly what he's going to do. He knows he has the pace for it. He was pulling away from everybody, so it's big. If he's able to unlap himself here, that's going to be big for the rest of this race. Now he's going to need to bank on a caution, but he's as good as anybody in this field, if not the best car.
See him right now just getting the run built up to the inside again. Miller takes the pass on DeCiani. Still, he's the first 2 laps down, again to emphasize, here on this one, despite having one of the faster cars on the racetrack. We have had a change for the race lead while we looked away. Gitter lost it quickly to Clayton Hoffman on lap 260. He just powered his way around the outside.
I was going to say, when we started to focus back on the Robert Miller machine, I saw him get a heck of a run on Patrick Gitter off of turn 2. And I was about to point it out, but I didn't think much of it. But now he's set sail on that thing.
7/10 up just about. These are his first lead laps of the night after being involved in the big one earlier.
Like I said, that was an early incident, but you still got a lot of time to make that up. And he's got the damage fixed and everything, and he's all good. I mean, he looks very stout here.
Paul Hill trying to save a little bit possibly on the inside here. It's Miller still trying to unlap himself. No clutch and coasting this time for the 26. Some of these drivers going to have to push the limit when it comes to some of this momentum, this run. There goes Hall low on the inside. And an issue front straightaway. Let's take a look.
You look at Dustin Hall right here in that beautiful Dodgers car here. Can't really tell what the issue would have been as they head into 3. Nothing out of the ordinary. He might have just got back in the gas just a little quick. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yep, he got back gas maybe just a hair too quick and spun it. Able to save the car, but he only lost about 3 or 4 spots, but those are big.
That puts him right back outside the top 10 yet again. The wiggles definitely in full effect for some drivers. That was an air wiggle nearly to the wall. There's some moments there. Take a look at Hill. He's been able to stabilize inside the top 5 here. He's running about top 10 earlier. So this has worked out for him. In fact, this has gotten him right in front of that 7 car for the battle for the in-season tournament if he's able to maintain the speed here after being behind Murray for much of stage 2.
That's what we mentioned earlier. It's almost the battle inside the battle. The battle inside the war, so to speak. You know, in this case, he's trying to win the race. Does he have the car to win the race? I really don't know. But he's obviously got a very competitive car. But right now, he's just concerned about beating one guy. And when you kind of compartmentalize it like that, that almost makes it easier.
Kind of does, absolutely.
I look at the 2 cars that took the wave around, the 88 and the 66. They might try, you'll see these 2, I don't know if they'll compete for the win, but you'll see them probably make up some positions because they took the wave around, and everyone's going to have to pit under green, but they're going to be able to probably pit just one more time under this green flag run and make up a ton of spots.
Kind of forced them to the undercut call if they end up going that route.
It was one of those, they probably decided that, we're going to do this anyway, so we may as well just get back on the lead lap and hope for the best.
And now we'll have to see where it really settles out for them. Battle between the Fighting Line 9 and the Packers. Hutchinson trying the outside here. Gets the squeeze of the RHM machine. Good power off. And now looking to get the position completed here. Problem is, just not able to maintain that outside line here with how high he just took it there.
They got pretty fresh tires. That top line's going to start to work better probably another 20 laps from now onto this run, but the top can work here if you trap someone that's not necessarily on the freshest tires in the world.
Looking at Matthew Long going way up the racetrack here for the run. Gonna dive in the corner, get to the bumper, but no move made. Just trying to figure himself out right now, it seems, is the main focal point. How are things going for Patrick Gitter? Well, he's still 7/10 back of your race leader. Still keeping up, but not enough to be able to knock the time back down to Clinton Hoffman after such a good short run for the 92.
92 was shot out of a cannon on that restart. But the other thing, if you're Patrick Gitter, if you're kind of in that spot, he's just maintaining. He was only 3,000ths off of him on that last lap. So it's not like it was a big gap. I think he's going to be fine just trying to maintain this gap, maybe even reel him in little by little, because he could probably go get it back pretty quickly, but he doesn't want to burn his stuff up because he knows there's still 125 laps left, and there's a fairly decent chance that stays green. So I don't think he's in any hurry to try to reel in Clayton Hoffman with nearly a quarter of this race left.
There's still a lot that can happen on the strategy, absolutely. Right, 24 laps to the run. So, Robert Miller, mind you, is still hanging out up here. And you got to think Miller's hoping this works out to where he can get back to the Lucky Dog spot somehow. The fact that he's driven all the way up here on raw speed is kind of a testament to how quick that 15 was, and if they didn't try that call earlier with the incident, we'd be talking about Robert Miller probably still leading.
I'm still, it sounds bad, I'm still shocked at that call. I mean, it must have been a heck of a secret to do that and then, it just explode right in your face, literally, immediately.
It'd be a miracle to come back from 2 laps down to win it.
I think it'd be a miracle just to get back on the lead lap, let alone win. But, I mean, he's still got pretty decent pace. It's not like he's completely out of this. I mean, right now, just on pure pace, he's sitting between second and third right now. So his car obviously is all fixed, but it's just, is he going to be able to catch that Clayton Hoffman car, which that is a teammate. So he might be able to cut him a little bit of slack here, get him down to 1 down, but there's a lot of moving parts to this for the rest of the race.
So Gallimore does come in 67 laps into the stint. 120 laps is a little bit too much of an ask, though.
Yeah, I mean, you saw all the guys having issues with just getting to 100 laps, let alone 120, but I mean, he might have been. They kind of made their bed by staying out there. They were thinking that they were just going to try the undercut like that, but I don't think they wanted it to stretch that long necessarily.
So we keep on seeing how things now shape up front. Miller, he's trying to pass the car that's in second. Able to get the move done. Gitter saying, you know what, we're not for position, why not? By the way, Paul Gallimore is staying in pit road, it looks like, for a lengthy service. So throw all strategy to the win for the 66.
That was kind of surprising how he just drove by Patrick Gitter like he wasn't even there on the top. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, right now, the fastest car on the racetrack is Robert Miller. I mean, he's running a 10th faster than that 92 and about 3/10 faster than Patrick Gitter. So, I mean, he does have the pace to be able to win the race. I just don't know if he has enough time to get back onto the lead lap. Now, if he unlaps himself, you know, that puts him one lap down, and then he'd be able to race the other one lap down cars. I'd imagine he'd be the fastest of those, but again, it's a lot of moving parts and a big ask for the rest of the race to try to even get back on the lead lap.
Absolutely. So we'll see where that all plays out as this run continues. I believe Alex Murray's found something, by the way, in terms of what he's doing. Because now he's up to 6th. He's still keeping up with Hill. The long runs, he slipped around to the top 10, top 15. This run's different. He's been able to maintain here. In fact, he looks mightily competitive to try and battle it out for that chance for the championship 2 for the tournament.
Yeah, all these guys are starting to pick up the pace a little bit. You're starting to see another Darrell Waltripism. The creams start to rise to the top. A lot of those guys that just kind of waiting in the weeds that, you know, I mentioned driving style earlier. If you don't hit anything, you stay out of trouble. And to finish first, you must first finish. I think Alex Murray's taking that to heart. I say that he's in the wall off the corner there, but it's been a good job tonight for that 7 machine.
Matthew Lawn up the road again, back up to Hoffman, and this is going to be an interesting one. Should be pretty quick.
I mean, you would think so. But the other thing is, if you're Clayton Hoffman, you know, you let your teammate by, you're immediately putting yourself into dirty air is the big thing there. So it on paper, it sounds like, okay, yeah, just let him by even though he's faster. But you'd also put yourself in a vulnerable position, which I think they're going to be just okay with. But, you know, you're putting him in dirty air, essentially.
So Miller is now back to 1 lap down. The next nearest car is going to be a ways up the track, though. We're able to get to running 26. Next car up is Chad Sanner, 9 seconds up the track. Right now, Neil Pearson, 62. Right now, looking to hold on to his spot. He's had some slides all down that front straightaway today, but he's gotten no damage from either of those hits to the inside wall. He's been resilient in the Dirty South car.
I'd say he's had a real adventurous race so far. I think he's been involved in at least 2 wrecks, but you know, just a real treacherous racetrack. And they were all both those wrecks were kind of the same wreck. You know, it just lost off turn 4 and was able to corral it, not get much damage, if any. But a shout out, give a call to Neil Pearson up there in 11th position right now.
Yeah, right now, doing a solid job here. Pearson starting to build a small buffer now on this 4 machine. Hall's in the line, Dylan Kritz, Andrew Dyson as well. There's a look at Benefiel. Remember, he picked up some of the damage earlier on, trying to pass by Murray. Trying to take a crack now for that 6th position. And Benefiel has gotten the car fixed. Komacheski, by the way, in scheduled service. He made it 81 laps on fuel. So Komacheski coming down for the service. Was about to say, didn't work out for the Waybrong cars. He can stretch if he wants to. Would it be a winning call, though? Likely with how far back he was, as the 7 starting to have to fight.
Yeah, 7's under attack from this Hodgson machine. But right now, it looks like Nolan Hodgson's going to be able to get there and make this pass here shortly. He's been he's had better pace the last couple laps, so he should be able to. As I think I head down to turn 3, and he's going to be side by side with him. But got a good job by Nolan Hodgson tonight. He was he got a little loose off turn 4, but he had that strategy call back at stage number 1, put him up front. He only took 2 tires. He was able to stay in the top 3 and earn some precious points, good track position. And take a look at the replay. That was a handful off of turn 4 for Nolan Hodgson. He was in tow of that 7 machine. They go down to 3 and 4, nothing out of the ordinary. Didn't clip the apron, done anything, and comes off 4. I think he got fighting side by side. He got back in the gas, maybe just a hair too quick. You see that wheel spin on the tachometer on the digital dash there. You saw it hit the red line and then it come back down. That's him get a little loose at the back end of the car, trying to step out from underneath him.
That sees it now try and hold on to it, still behind the 7. Still a lengthy amount of time to go, more than 100 laps to work with here. Looking at Dyson. And right now, how things change. Dyson had been trailing Heitman all race long in the in-season tournament, with Heitman having that speeding penalty a while ago. Now still a lap down. It's currently Dyson who's got the last lap right now. You see the interval right now on track between the two of them. It's a little bit bigger than that because of where the positions are.
Again, this is formulating into some good battles for these. I mean, the 2 battles for the in-season tournament are all in the same ballpark right now. There's not one that's just dominating the other one. So there's still a lot left to be decided here.
Yeah. So a lot can happen with the strategy, absolutely. Here's your biggest movers again. Oh, and way slow. Somebody way low. That was Nolan Hodgson. And he's hit the wall. No caution. We stay green.
All right, front's destroyed. Oh, my goodness. And he got moved up the track. Then he got punted into the wall, but they were both way up in the marbles like that. So I don't know what that was all about.
I can't tell if the 12 just got loose, got the air packed off of him, or what.
They both got on those marbles, and that could get really treacherous if they got super high up into them. But look off at 2, and nothing just out of the ordinary. Just been hard racing. Look, I run higher. He got loose on entry there. He just had nowhere to go. So, I hate that. Nolan Hodgson's had a good race so far.
And now he's going to have to come down pit road with significant troubles there. Murray is having a decent run. Not anymore either, likely.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at that Hodgson machine right now. That right front is pointed to the right. That tie rod is not in good shape.
Like going to be a race coster there. Murray's got the whole front grille crushed in. So Hodgson now stands on pit road as jumped out of the car. All of this is while Dyson makes the move now on Hall. No issue up to 12.
Battle for the lead. This gap's getting a little close. Patrick Gitter's got it down under 2 seconds right now over the last couple laps. He's been about a tenth quicker than Clayton Hoffman has been.
Yeah, chipping away the gap as this run's now gone back on. Last time by, 2/10 lost by Hoffman. So Gitter's found an extra groove here. He looks to try and set something up from the outside, try and get the diamond line working to build up this run.
I think he's just searching for clean air so that car can move around a little better.
It looks like Hoffman going to let him have the inside by a wide margin. Gitter to the lead.
Yeah, Gitter's picked up the pace now. He's now the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Now, the other thing that's going to get interesting here, he is about a 10th quicker than that Miller machine up there, the 15 car that just unlapped himself. I don't think he's going to cut him any favors now that that's a teammate leading, and he's slowly reeling him in there, but he might not catch him, I don't believe, but that would be very interesting if that came up.
Yes, indeed. All right, so get her. Now set something up and work approaching the window for stop soon. Dustin Hall just came down to pit road. So the one machine has just opened the window. They've been running in the teens. So when does everyone else come down, with it being the longest run of the race? Some of these drivers going to be borderline on tire.
Well, I mean, you look at that last run that we had. You saw guys start exploding tires at lap 100. I think we're pretty safe into that. If I had to guess, you'll see about lap 325 or so, guys start to come down pit road, or some might even try to stretch it out to even 340 or 350. But I think that 325 to 330, I think, is that magic number. But I mean, you'll see guys try to pit here in the next couple laps. You might even see someone try to stretch it to 340, even further than that.
More ways this can go, especially with how this race is now trended to be a green flag type of night. Very rare to have any incidents unless somebody has a massive mistake. Right now, this driver's just chugging along on the run. Jacob Simpson, I think, just popped an air tire. Another one. That's the second during a run. That's only 57 laps in for Jacob Simpson, by the way.
That's a real interesting call there. I mean, to have if you're going to split it in two, have your first run be the shorter one, but they know something I don't, so, which a lot of people do.
Brian Jr. also came down. Dyson's now cracked the top 10 with Murray's damage. Sean O'Brien Jr. just had an issue into his pit stall, possibly. He just got a meatball flag. Believe it might have been just as he was entering. Not sure, but it is mandatory damage now on the 65. Miller, by the way, is now in range to make some passes here on the racetrack with those a lap down or now near 2 down. Got Chad Sanner just up the road.
I don't see anyone else trying to come down pit road. Again, I think you're going to see about lap 325 the mass exodus down the pit road. If I had to venture a moderately educated guess.
I wouldn't be surprised either at this point with the way things are shaping up in this race.
Because I think cutting it to a 75 lap run is kind of that happy spot where you could still push. You don't need to you don't have to save anymore on tire to prevent them from popping. But I think that sounds just like a real sound number. As a lot of guys are going to come down pit road this time by trying to see if they can make it 85 laps.
Sanner did call for pit road this time. Something popped up on the radio as well at that moment also. So, Sanner is in. Apparently Matthew Boston Wheeler just got uprooted off the bottom of the racetrack, by the way, in the 01 car. That's why he just had something pop on the radio. He's had a rough day. He almost wrecked it.
Yeah, it was between him and Jacob Simpson about 2 laps ago, but on my screen it looked like there was plenty of room there, and Matthew Boston Wheeler just got a little loose.
We
trudge on.
Yes, indeed. Continuing to plow our way through the laps. Our pit stop, Derek Heitman just came down. Derek Hastings still maintaining his run. Brandon Hastings, I should say. So everyone keeps fluctuating in and out of the pit road right now as we keep on going. Gitter, by the way, has pulled by more than a second from Hoffman as this run's now developed. Matthew Long, Cam Stone, Paul Hill, the current top 5 as we currently run. A lot of those names haven't really been in the top 5 most of the night. That's how much this race has changed here with some of the incidents. Hearing a wreck in turn 2, caution. 62, Neil Pearson. Contact from a teammate, Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, that 62 is toast. That right front is gone. Down to turn 1, and wow, he got roughed up by his teammate. That's wow.
That's a teammate again, once again here, and I know he's not happy. He just left the team chatter, so
it'll be an interesting team meeting on Monday.
Interesting team meeting tonight. Small tap, overcorrect, into the wall.
Golly. Everybody coming down pit road, by the way, Justin Prince.
Complete land rush now for the service. Devin Madero's amongst those not yet to come down, but his lap's down. Everybody else coming through. Did Patrick Gitter just stop? Yes, he did for 4 tires. That's how early his pit box is with the speed limit. Gonna have to be quick though, some of these drivers in their service.
So, depending on how this all shuffles out, the way it looks on my screen, Robert Miller's going to be inside the top 5 of the cars that are 1 lap down. And he has very clearly shown that he has exceptional pace. So, he is 1 caution away from making this race very interesting.
This could get wild if he does get on the lead lap again. Interesting enough, he pit with that wave of drivers.
I have a lot of egg on my face if he ends up doing that. Because I said, oh yeah, his race is over, but he's very still much in the thick of this.
So Patrick Gitter is currently up in front. Let's see if we can talk with Patrick Gitter here. Patrick, first things first, how are you feeling about how this car's been on the racetrack here tonight here at Dover?
I feel like long run's good, man. I hate to see that caution. They're starting to pull away there. I think we probably had it. That goes green, so we'll just have to re-rack. But I mean, car feels great. Feels like I can put it where I need to, high or low, doesn't matter. Wrapping the bottom real well, so hopefully it'll hang on here this last run. Hopefully this goes green, and we'll see what happens.
What's the approach now the rest of the way with 77 to go?
Man, track position's going to be big. I think you're going to see guys getting real aggressive. I think it's just going to be trying to stay out front and keep that clean air.
Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Patrick Gitter, control car here. Hoffman second, Cam Stone, Matt Long, Paul Hill, the top 5, Benefield, Hutchinson, Jones, Dyson, Kritz. Your top 10 for the Robert Miller check. He'll be restarting in 17th place, which would put him 17th, 18th position, puts him around the second car, a lap down. Let's find out how this is going to play out. 77 to go from Dover. Green flag is out. And a very careful start.
And they all kind of took notes on that big wreck we had at stage 2 that took out a good chunk of the field.
Seeing some of the others start to battle it out at the edge of the top 10. Hutchinson about 7th spot right now is what he wants. What he wants, should say. Jones, though, has the power down the outside, trying to clear on by. Just about does in the 11 machine. Some of the others going way up on the high side, trying different lines right now. All this is to say, bit of tire management still involved in this run, but there's still plenty up for grabs in terms of positions. Cam Stone looking for another podium run in this in-season tournament stretch. He had a top 3 in Chicago.
Yeah, that Dairy Daddy machine looking really stout up here. He's been milking it all night long. He's got to this position. Did a good job avoiding all the wrecks, and he's got it up to 3rd place, or up to 4th place right now.
Just can't seem to close it up right now, and he is an interesting character. We spoke with him during the post-race, of course, when he got the top 3 at Chicago. He's got a very eclectic fan base that supports everything he does.
I mean, I don't personally know Cameron Stone, but I like him so far just based off this car and how he's been racing. But I mean, it's an easy guy to like.
Well, all this is wow. Robert Miller, guess what? He's in the lucky dog spot, and he's still one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Passing lead lappers left, right, and center here. It's already past the 13th place car. Now looking for more. He's picking off a car a car per lap right now on average. He is really trying to prove a point here.
Yeah, he's got the best car in the field. I'll just go out and say it. He might, if he gets back on the lead lap, I bet he'll have a good shot to win the race. But I mean, it's going to be a big thing. He's already raced his way back on the lead lap once. I mean, I don't know if he'll try to do it again because he'll have a pretty significant gap back to the next Lucky Dog car. But the other thing is, if he races his way back on the lead lap, he doesn't have to worry about if he's involved in a wreck for the Lucky Dog. So, I mean, I can see both ends of this coin right now.
See, all the lead lappers don't even want to fight this car. There are 2 types of lap cars. You have the lappers that are very cordial, just minding their own business. Well, there's technically 3. The second type I was about to say is what Miller is here. The type that wants to test their speed, it seems. See where the barometer is at, to be able to know where they are in the long run. There's also a lap car that doesn't move, but we haven't seen that tonight, really, from anybody.
No, you really haven't. Everyone's kind of played nice and let lap cars by or being a lap car, which that does help, especially considering it's a 400-lap race and it's a long season. So you really don't want to make too many enemies over the course of a race like this or over the course of a season like this. But it's been real cordial among all the drivers here in the field.
Seen some bump and runs that have led to incidents, but so far, not too many major spark-ups. Paul Hill, by the way, looking very good for his bracket in terms of the in-season tournament brackets as they run. So if we were to go to the checker flag like this, it'd be a battle between Hill and Dyson. And those are 2 drivers that would have decent speed in theory when you go to the Brickyard next week, and that's going to be a big race. A crown jewel event, the Brickyard 400.
Always fun to go over there, Indianapolis Motor Speed. We're glad they're racing the oval again. I'm glad that's a change that's happened. They were racing the road course all over everywhere, and it was even off the schedule for a year. But it's just good to see that race be on the schedule.
I agree with that absolutely. It's a prestigious facility. Of course, a long time in motorsports. Also a very big challenge for drivers to battle, even with this car. By the way, Hoffman is keeping lockstep with Gitter. 4/10 up right now. Last time by, it was a couple hundreds quicker for Hoffman Their averages, though, are near identical over the past 5 and past 10.
I think the big thing that happened on that last run, we saw Clayton Hoffman get shot out of a cannon. I think he's kind of learned from that. I don't know if he might have burned up his stuff just a hair on that restart and then let the 21 reel him back in, but either he's pulled it back a little bit or the 21's found another gear, but they're kind of maintaining this about 4 1/4 second gap. 4/10 of a second gap, I'm sorry. Again, there's that math thing again.
Cook popped an air tire. He ran 84 laps on a stint, just popped it. Lucas Hoitzma, we haven't talked too much about here tonight since some of the incidents. So far, survival for him has been critical. Right back where he started this race. He's been really good on some of the speedways this season tonight. Just hasn't had the luck. He's maintaining the pace right now, it seems, in the 97, and he's done a good job since getting all the repairs done, Dylan.
Yeah, a lot of cars have been able to recover from that after that big wreck. That was the biggest wreck of the race so far. I mean, you have a guy like Robert Miller as well who's got all the damage fixed. He's still zooming, but it's been a real quiet, good night for Lucas Hoitzma. He's started 13th, is running 13th right now. He's put together a real solid race after, a wreck that could have ended his race earlier.
Quick go ahead on the radio for 15. It looks like Corey Cook has made his way out of pit road. And look out.
Holy cow. Wow.
Came out right by the race leaders and right in front of Miller. Spooked him off the track for a moment.
Even if this ends up not paying off for Robert Miller, I want to give a call to him. I mean, he's essentially running in 5th place right now. He was 2 laps down, just 125 laps to go, and now he's about 4 cars away from unlapping himself. I mean, just looking at the car he's about to unlap, he's about to pass right now, Cameron Stone. I mean, it would be utterly ridiculous if he's able to do that, pass that 57 and unlap himself in a couple cars.
Did you just say utterly because of the cow paint scheme?
I'm glad you caught that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's rooting for utter chaos the rest of this race.
Hey, crazier things have happened. Miles the Monster likes to erase cars. So far, Miles hasn't been, satisfied, if you think about it that way. You've had a lot of damaged cars, but only 7 DNFs.
Yeah, there's going to be no beef between Cam Stone and this 15 car. He's just going to let him go right there.
You punny man. No issue. So, 30 cars still running in the race, mind you, as that's referred to. Nolan Hodgson did come back in the race, 19 laps down in terms of his incident. Tyler Hunter, 12 down amongst those that have had some attrition tonight. Looks like the T car is starting to fight a bit. Benefield on the inside, outside. Stone. And Benefield takes 4th. Just able to make some smooth moves amongst the Team Conti machines, giving each other plenty of space and teamwork. It's what's so critical at this point of the runs.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see. I think everyone's good to go on tires and fuel here for the rest of the race, at least of the drivers inside the top 15. But if there's a caution, this race, for lack of a better term, all hell's going to break loose here. But right now, everyone's all kind of spread out right now. That's kind of the big thing that the likes of Patrick Gitter and Clayton Hoffman want to see, is this race just be really spread out and there be no issues. Because the second we have a caution, since we're going to be within 50 to go, the old expression, at a track like this, cautions are going to breed cautions. Especially
here at Dover. A lot of attrition that can just hit in one go. Right now, Corey Cook just taking his time. Coco doesn't want to cause any issues. A rough night, 5 laps down for the 61. At least 2 tire failures in the race. This is going to cost Hoffman a lot of time here. Coco not making this pass quick. Oh, up the track, Cook. Had to let out of the gas.
Yeah, he had to let her breathe right there. That was going to be bad.
Yeah, that Maconi car having a hard time here. Oh, he's talked about how it's been a difficult season whenever he's made starts. It's been a difficult night. Miller only a couple laps away from, a couple cars should say, from getting the Unlapping Himself award. 47 laps to go at the stripe though. Obviously we can't go the whole distance around to be able to get the lead. Now, some of the air cars that are trying to position themselves up here with all this, by the way. Ryan S. Jones and our shout towards him want to go towards. You see the battles start to heat up a bit. Jones started up front, has been able to keep it up front as of late. Had a bit of a struggle period in the middle portion of the race, but this car has come back to him for DPR.
Absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, you might have a car that just stinks for the first 100 laps, but as the track changes, as cars fall out of the race for whatever reason, you'll be able to make up some ground as well, and that's clearly what's happened with that machine. But it's been a lot of comers and goers here, which you'll see a lot even in real life in Dover. Is you might have a car that's really good at the start and then kind of struggles and then picks back up. A lot can happen in a 400 lap race.
Could happen, absolutely. Benefield has made the pass on Matthew Long. So Benefield in the top 3. This is an interesting surge to close out the day for the pole sitter. Started off decent, drop back. Out in the top 15, much of the night was damaged at one point. Now rides as we look back up front. Miller still knocking down time. Both the Altus cars are knocking down time right now. It's a Gitter again. Oh, that's wow. This is going on with the Moo Moo car.
Yeah, look at the replay. He off the track a little bit. Trying to keep an eye on him and the leader. I couldn't really tell exactly if there was any issue going on, but oh yeah, he got pitched just a little bit by the lap car, but lap car had nowhere to go. I mean, he's kind of, again, lap traffic can be very weird here because you think you're out of the way, you might be 3 lanes out of the way, and then once you funnel back onto the front of the backstretch, suddenly you're in the way, and it's just there's nothing he could do there.
Cost him a spot to Paul Hill, so he's out of the top 5 for now. Still 40 laps to recover that spot. Still trying to sort himself out to be able to close up that gap once again with 40 to go here at Dover. Looking at the 97 yet again. He's got Devin Medeiros in front of him now. This is for 14th. Medeiros has snuck out some top 10s to close out races this season. Right now, it doesn't seem like that tough a night for the 20, but it's another solid run for him.
At a track as treacherous like this, and as much as it's gone on this race, if you're able to get the top 15, you had a pretty good night, I would have to say. A lot of people might be you probably wish you could have left some meat. You probably left some meat on the bone. But I mean, in this instance, with so many cars have got a lap down and so many cars have been involved in wrecks, I mean, you'll take being unscathed and on the lead lap.
By the way, this is going on now with the second place car. Yet again. And possessed Miller drives his way past the second place car. Hoffman didn't even fight him. Last time by, 24-1. He's quicker than the leader. Gitter is slowing down a little bit on his pace right now. Just falling off a little bit on the run, averaging the 9/10 of a second of fall off still.
So whatever Robert Miller had for breakfast, I need to order that for breakfast the rest of my life, because he's been the class of the field, which is very rare to say about a car that's a lap down. But I still go back to it. He had that secret he wouldn't tell us, and then it ended up just blowing up in his face. But even with that, it looks like he's trending to finish on the lead lap. But if he gets a yellow here, I mean, who knows what'll happen.
At this point, you might get the most cars passed award for that 50 car tonight. Not sure what the exact number would be, but it would be pretty high. Benefield starting to knock down time to close up to Hoffman. Hoffman slowed down a little bit now with the dirty air. But Benefield, he's running even quicker than both first and second right now.
Yeah, Adams kind of turned it on here the last about 10 laps or so, but he's running almost a tenth quicker than both of them. I mean, this race is far from over. We only got 34 to go, which it sounds like a lot, but it also doesn't sound like a lot. But you're going to see the field, they got stretched out. Well, now with how the tires are wearing for everybody and how they're just driving and mix of lap traffic, you're going to see this start to accordion back together.
Starting to see the battle box really stretch out to the entire top 10 or so, based on everybody within 1 second of each other. Right now, Long keeping the distance he needs to in front of Hill for reference. Hill trying lower lines, Long preferring the higher grooves. See all these drivers just building so much rubber buildup into this concrete at this point. How much we've turned laps around here. See how much the rubbers changed the color of the groove here. This went from a light gray to a very dark gray in the corners.
That's the other cool thing. Robert Miller all over this leader, Patrick Gitter, right now. I mean, this has also brought in the 92 back into this picture. Right now, Patrick Gitter, he's struggled the last handful of laps. He's about 2/10 slower than the guys chasing him. If I'm Patrick Gitter, I'll let him go and try to tread water and fight these guys for position over here.
There it is. Oh, my goodness. As soon as he unlapped himself, he knew he wrecked himself.
Yeah, this is a big moment right here because this is also involving the leaders, but the other thing is it's a rare instance. Robert Miller has a car faster than the leaders right now, so you can't blame him for trying to do this.
This is for pride at this point. Oh, and now he nearly clipped.
Oh, he got his left rear.
Just got hit by Hoffman, damage to the 92. There goes Benefield.
Wow, and the 15's got a little damage too. Adam Benefield's licking his chops at this. You see all these guys about to kill each other up here now. He's moved into second.
Absolute disaster. Right there, gives damage to his teammate. Benefield takes the run, and now Benefield is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, if not has a chance for himself to take a win.
Business is picked up right now, Justin Prince. I mean, this is That should have been about a 3 or 4 car wreck, but these guys are really good, and they've prevented that from doing so. But, I mean, that's big by the 15 and the 92, 2 team cars that really, the 15 really cost the 92 a little bit there by pushing a little extra, and about wrecked the leaders too. So that's been a lot of heart-stopping moments up here at the front.
And Hoffman's damage has cost him. He's going in the wrong way really fast now. Here comes Matthew Lowell to take away the top 3. See that front end crunched in big time.
I mean, the other thing is, he's not going to want to pit, because even if he stays out and loses a bunch of spots at worst, I mean, he's still going to finish on the lead lap. But I mean, that is race over right now for that 92 machine of Clayton Hoffman.
Absolute disaster. And now we wait to see what happens between the top 2. It's down to Gitter and Benefield to decide this race. Last time by, Benefield just a little bit quicker than Gitter. Gitter's led 75 laps, Benefield 21.
Adam Benefield's going to get there. I mean, 22 laps, make up only a half second. He's going to get there at some point. I mean, Patrick Gitter's going to have to run 22 perfect laps for this not to be a pretty good finish here at the end.
Benefield's finding some great lines on corner exit right now to chip away this gap to the 21. Still 21 laps to get the job done, though. That's the thing. There's plenty of traffic that they may have to deal with soon. Some of the cars ahead, Komacheski, Owens, O'Brien. This race, about 3 hours, by the way. It's been an endurance race. One of the longest races of the season here. That's just the nature of Dover. Benefield, ready to get the run. This will get him within a couple car lengths of Gitter.
Oh, he's there. He's going to get him.
Here we go. To the inside is Benefield. Gitter on the outside. Benefield on the inside.
This is where that top's going to play into factor here. They've worn down the tires so much, you'll get more of a run on the top than you will the bottom.
Benefield's causing Gitter to get really close to this wall.
I think Gitter's okay with giving up the bottom because he knows he'll get a run off the top. If Benefield can clear him, it'll be pretty close to race over.
Benefield having to reset again. Another send to the inside of the Fortis car. Benefield having to crack the whip on the throttle. A bit of a wiggle for Gitter as he clears.
It's going to be a big thing, too. He keeps diving it in like that into the corner. He's going to have a lot of issues with those tires over toward the last 10 laps of this race because he's pushing them as hard as they've been pushed all race on a track that's already really abrasive.
Benefield couldn't get to the corner panel this time to try and slow up the 21. And now Robert Miller is here. Miller pushed Benefield on the entry. Ellen Benefield pushes up Gitter. Gitter had to lift out of the gas. Benefield's at the door. Here comes Robert Miller. Side by side for the race lead. Benefield having to get out of the throttle again. And now Robert Miller is trying to pass by second.
Yeah, Benefield's not happy about it. He keyed over the radio. He's wanting them to let the leaders race. But the other thing is Robert Miller still has a lot of pace. Oh, there's contact. They're both at the wall. Oh, my goodness.
Benefield slams into Miller. And they'll both go down on the apron.
Oh, my goodness. What a bad mistake. I mean, here's the thing with Robert Miller. I understand he's trying to unlap himself. But here's the thing. If he gets a yellow, he's going to be the lucky dog. So at this point of the race, I don't understand why he's trying to race that hard. I mean, he put Adam Benefield in a bad position right there that caused him to wreck both of them. I mean, that was wild.
Gotta feel absolutely furious, it seems, with the car language there.
I mean, almost understandably so, as bad as it sounds. I mean, I understand, if it was 30 or 40 to go, I understand Miller trying to fight with the leaders, trying to unlap himself, but I mean, we're approaching 10 laps to go. I mean, this is the end of the race. I mean, that's just let the leaders go, in my opinion. And if you get your lap back, you get your lap back, and if you don't, then you don't. So now you just took yourself from having a chance of the lucky dog to no chance.
Yeah, he's now down pit road for the night. 12 to go. Paul Hill is the next driver up, and now Hill is knocking down the time to get him.
I think as a Patrick Gitter, he's had to use up a lot of tire fighting up there. I know he's going to have the preferred line on the top, but, he was still having to use a lot of rubber, use up a lot of his car there. In that fight with Benefiel and even Robert Miller and pretty much everyone that he's battled up there the last 50 laps. Even someone like a Matthew Long, this is not over for him either. And even go back to this little group of cars, Clayton Hoffman, who's, trudged his way back to the 5th spot, and Cameron Stone. I mean, again, there's only 10 laps to go, but this is far from over because Paul Hill is still significantly catching this 21.
He has to gain 9/10, and he needs to gain it quick. Down to 8/10 in the quarter entry. Trying the diamond line for the exit, but didn't get enough time close up that time through 1 and 2 to be able to significantly get there.
He just needs to find about a 10th a lap, and he'll be right there. If he can find a 10th a lap somewhere compared to this 21, he'll be knocking on the door with 2 to go.
He didn't get a 10th there. He only got 600ths. Starting to equalize out again at the wrong time here.
Well, he's still reeling him in, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time at this pace. He really needs to be gaining about a 10th a lap, and then he'll get there. But like you said, he's gained about 700ths.
Here's a look back there for 4th. Cam Stone, Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman trying to do this with damage. Ryan Jones trying to sneak out a top 5 here as well.
Paul Hill was quicker that last time by, but it was only by 400ths. It's not enough to make up that gap at about 7 laps.
Hoffman's doing a great job with all this damage, still keeping up the speed, shows the raw pace that he originally had. It's scraped the wall now for the 57. That damage, though, going to be hurting him to finish the job here. Does get the job done for 4th. Good pass.
Hey, this gap now between the leaders is under a half second now. As the 15 car kind of held up Patrick Gitter just a hair, but this has opened the door back up for Paul Hill, who's got this lead around 4/10 now.
Under 5 laps to go. He needs a lot of time picked up, and he needs it now.
Got it under 3/10. He's got to be at there, Justin Prince.
Can he do something? This might require the bumper. 4 to go.
I'm telling you, he's going to get there.
Now it's 2/10. Now he's down to the top, going for the top of the diamond.
He's going to get there. He's going to get there in the next lap or so. He has shaved off a significant amount of time here.
Here he goes to the inside. Paul Hill had to close up more than a second to get here. Gitter from the high side. 3 laps to battle it out for the win.
If I'm Patrick Gitter, I let him have the bottom, and I keep using this top. Make Paul Hill beat you on the bottom here, because the bottom is not going to be real good with old tires like both of these drivers have.
Now we're poked to the inside, coming to 2 laps to go. Does Hill use the bumper, or does he keep it clean? Now he tries to power the high side. Here comes the run again. Diamond off the corner. Found something that works.
He tried to cross over.
Hill.
Oh! Patrick got loose.
Paul Hill clears by Patrick Gitter, coming around to the white flag. 400 laps. Comes down to a second, last lap pass. Paul Hill stretched the gas in stage 2, stole a stage victory then. He steals a race win tonight. Paul Hill wins the Sports 400 in dramatic fashion.
I can't believe that. That was a heck of a drive by Paul Hill there. I mean, 20 laps ago, we weren't even talking about him. He's come out and won the race.
Four different drivers had a chance to win this race in the final 35 laps. Tonight, it's Paul Hill that gets it done, and for him, it's win number 2. And he's going to keep on going.
I mean, what a drive for Paul Hill. I mean, we were thinking, after you said it best, he stole stage number 2. You're thinking, okay, he's going to try to fade back a little bit, but you say he stole it, but I mean, he was in position to win. All these guys kept making mistakes ahead of him, getting damaged or spin it out or wreck it or get collected with lap cars, and he was the beneficiary of some good luck and some good strategy as well.
What a finish. One of the races of the season in terms of the drama, but also the battling going on to the end there. Paul Hill again picks up his second win of the season. He's now one of 6 drivers to win multiple races that are in the 2025 playoff grid so far.
Got enough tire for a burnout.
Take a step aside. We'll get to the post-race coverage after this. You're watching Maconi Entertainment here from Dover.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
My oh my, what a race. Welcome back to Dover for more coverage of tonight's action. The Sports 400 comes down to a second-to-last lap pass for the win. So many different contenders for a chance to win that race. In the end, Paul Hill is the one who's got the W. Patrick Gitter second, Matthew Lohan in third. Speak with them in just a few moments. Clayton Hoffman and Ralph Hutchins in the top 5 with Dyson, Jones, Stone, Hastings, and Murray, your top 10.
Go down to 11th, the guy that we thought was going to have a good shot to win this and looked like the favorite toward the end, Adam Benefil in 11th, Lucas Weitzman 12th, Devin Medeiros P13, Dylan Fritz in 14th, both the last car finishing on the lead lap, Bobby Anderson P15, Tanner Marty in 16th, Matt Ciani, in 17th, Stephen Williams in 18th, Jacob Simpson in 19th, these cars multiple laps down, and Sean O'Brien Jr. rounding out the top 20.
21st goes to Thomas Komacheski. Then it's Dustin Hall, followed in the order by William Owens, Corey Cook, and Matthew Wheeler. Tyler Hunter 26th, with Robert Miller 27th in the end after all of the drama. Nolan Hodgson 28th, Heitman and Llewellyn the top 30.
These drivers, they had a lot of issues tonight. Neil Pearson finishing 31st, 32nd, Chad Sanner, Paul Gallimore finishing 33rd, 123 laps down. Jeremy Miller, who at the end of pit wall on those green flag pit stops in stage 2, 34th. Carl Dodson, P35. Evan Mesnard and Larry McDonald, who only saw 35 laps of action. This one rounding out the field in 37th.
That's what we're talking about with the running order here tonight here on Maconi Entertainment. Paul Hill is the one who gets to go to virtual victory lane. Paul, I'm not sure if that's how you drew it up, but what a finish. What's going through your mind after your second one of the year?
I'm just glad we were able to close the deal. I didn't know if I would have anything for Pat there at the end, and he got loose, I guess, there on that exit, and it worked out. I was fighting for it. That was the hardest I've worked for a win in a very, very long time.
What was your game plan with that strategy in terms of the final stretch here in the battle for the win? Because it seemed to be a battle between Gitter and Hoffman, the battle between Gitter and Benefiel. What was going to your mind as you've seen all the drama faring out for the race lead?
Honestly, Dover's one of those tracks that I try to just mind to myself and race the track. It is very quick if you get too focused on the car in front of you to burn either your right front or right rear, depending on the setup. So I really just try to run my race and hope that my pace over the long run was enough to get through everybody and get the win, which it worked out. I'm kind of lost for words, to be honest for you. That was quite a race. I feel bad for Adam. I do want to say something there. Him and Pat were really fighting it up, and I thought it was going to be, a battle between those two, but that misfortune kind of led to this, so I can't complain too much.
So on that note, you're in the final two for the battle for the in-season tournament. What's your approach going to be to try and win it?
Well, same as last week. If I can win the race, no one can beat me in the in-season too. So that's kind of been my approach every week, and this week it actually came out to a win, so that's pretty cool.
Anyone who want to go shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, I want to shout out CFM Performance or CFM Esports for the awesome setup. We worked real hard on this one. This is a tricky track. Put in a lot of effort. Joseph Galata, Nolan Hodgson, Greg Carr helped us out a little bit. He ran some laps with us. A bunch of guys that make the wheels turn with practicing and coming into our sessions every week. So I want to shout out everyone that shows up every week over there and helps us develop what we need to develop and be fast. So I want to thank them. You guys up in the booth, Bobby for the league, and all my teammates.
Congratulations on the run here, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul Hill is the one who gets the victory here tonight in this one. What a finish. Patrick Gitter seems so close to win. 96 laps led. He's with Dylan.
Yeah, Patrick, of course, P2 would be good any other night, but a race that it seemed like you had pretty good control of toward the end. What happened in those last 50 laps? It seemed like it was just an all-out brawl with people for position and people not for position.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest I've ever driven on the sim to try to hold on to a win, man. It was, I went into it knowing I was just going to, committed to keeping clean air. I'd drive however hard I needed to hold on to it. So Clayton had good pace early. I noticed he really stayed with me the whole time, but then I knew Adam was safe, and Adam got up. Started battling with him, and then, a couple times was dealing with Robert. Robert kind of got into the mix, being a lap down, and that was a whole separate deal. But there at the end, hate that Adam got caught up, because that was going to be a really good battle. He probably had better tires. I pretty much know he had better tires than me, but too bad we didn't get to play that out. But those last 2 laps, man, I just ran out of right rear trying to hold on to that clean air. I looked at my tires after the race and had like 3% left on my right rear. So I just ran out of tire. I mean, I felt like we had the best car tonight, and unfortunately was just committed to a strategy that I guess was a little too aggressive there at the end.
Still want to give a call to you. You drove a hell of a race there, driver. I know he came up short than probably what you wanted, but it was still a heck of a drive to watch there. Did you think that this was one of the harder races this year to conserve tire and fuel?
I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think so. I think you just had to commit on a certain pace you had to run. I mean, if you can commit to a certain pace and know how to back up your entry, I mean, you can save tire, I feel like, pretty well here. But this track is very setup dependent, and if you do not have a setup that is going to maybe allow the car to just rotate and absorb entry exit, I mean, it's going to kill your tires. So I feel like this track is very setup dependent compared to a lot of the traditional amount of halves we go to.
So you head to Indianapolis next week. What are you looking at quickly, looking ahead to next week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be good there. I mean, Indy, we've had a good car there in the past, and we've got some similar tracks we're looking back at to kind of take at least a base to build off from there. But I think the draft model in this car now is going to make it to where it's not just a choo-choo train. I think you're going to see more cars spread out. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a unique track for this car to go to with this new car update.
Patrick Gitter, our second place finisher tonight. Do you have anyone you want to thank before we cut you loose?
Yeah, man. First off, you guys in the booth. Shout out to Fortis Motorsports, Matt DeCiani. He helped build another fantastic car this week. Really, I felt like we had the best car, and didn't get to show it. Just had an incredible long run pace and ran out of tire there at the end, being too aggressive. I feel like we could easily have 3-4 wins this year. We've just come so close here. Vegas, Nashville. I mean, second or third those races. So, I mean, it's been frustrating, but we'll get there. So we'll keep at it. We keep bringing good cars. So shout out to him. Shout out to Fortis, and appreciate you guys again for what you do in the booth.
Absolutely appreciate you guys putting on a show that we can call. You had Patrick Gitter, our second place finisher tonight. Good job tonight, driver.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That was Patrick Gitter, again, our second place finisher. I believe Justin Prince is going to be talking to our third place finisher, Matthew Long.
Yes, indeed. Matthew, very quietly able to get yourself into third spot, had a decent run. How would you describe your night here tonight?
Yeah, it was a good night, man. We had a good long run car, and we had really good drive off. So I was just biding my time for all the stints, and come lap 30 or so in the stint, I was really able to pick them off and kept them clean. And on that last stop, towards the end of the race, we started getting really tight, kept loosening it up, and I just didn't make a big enough swing at it at the end. I was just plowing the right front off, so I was hanging on for life. Paul come up to me, and I just let him by, and I was like, I hope you go up there and race Gitter hard, and maybe I can luck into something. But I think third place was probably the best we can do tonight. Maybe a little better if I loosened it up more, but overall, I'll take it, man. Good stage points, good finish. I don't think I've had an interview with y'all all year except for the win, so it's good to be talking to you guys.
And overall, how would you describe the difficulty in general about driving a track like Dover, where we've seen plenty of people just have tire issues?
Yeah, I hated Dover coming into tonight. I always would burn off the right front, and I just struggled here, but I don't know. I found something tonight, and the car was really good. I got to thank Ryko for that, and I think I walk away from the night liking Dover a little bit more. But definitely tricky with this concrete surface, especially early on in the race before we got rubbered in, and yeah, just really had to pay attention to that right front tire for me at least.
How do you approach the Brickyard? What's your plan there?
No, I like it. I think track position there is going to be huge. So I was really proud of myself tonight. Just kept a really clean race car, no mistakes, and I think that's going to be definitely key to the winner at Brickyard. And just having a perfect day. So if I can do that, and hopefully be up there in top 5, see what happens.
Any shout out you'd like to give here once again?
Yeah, definitely got to thank Ryko for the car, man. The car was great on the long run. That was a lot of fun. My teammates, Bobby, Dyson, Neil, I know they got into it tonight a little bit, but they'll be all right, I hope. And then, yeah, Bobby and all the drivers showing up for this league, man. This is the best competition that I can get in iRacing, and I love it. And it's a hell of a league. So, and you guys do an awesome job putting on the show every week, so I appreciate it.
Congratulations on the run here tonight.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Matt Long rounds out your top 3. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here at Maconi Entertainment. The next time out, we head to the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, July 26th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for a crown jewel in the decider for the in-season tournament. And Decon, that should be a thriller.
Yeah, that should be. Like I said, with this new draft package and how the car is, it's going to drive a lot like Pocono, and that's been a fun track to drive. So I'm excited to see what they got in store next week in Indianapolis.
See that next time out here on Maconi Entertainment. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. We'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage of the FLCC. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Pritz, alongside Dylan Connolly. In the booth producing was DJ Lyon. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. Hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to our staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
Want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.